Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Hi, Matt. Hi, Josh.
This is a brand new lineup. We got like
we
got the D team out here for Wake Up Barstool.
Well,
today.
me and Josh were talking about it. Like, if you're making a TV show, wouldn't you want to put literally anyone who someone knows on television?
Some would think. Some
Okay.
would think.
All
Some people who know what they're doing and who understand how ratings work and understand how interest works would probably say, "Hey guys,
I think they got the right formula. Like, they went like hot chick and 3 dudes.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That's
That's the
okay.
playbook. Yeah.
But
That
like,
is the playbook.
preferably at
One-
least one person that someone knows.
No, this is the complete D team today. This is unless you are a Barstool fan, I don't think you would know who any of these people are. Now, I do, unfortunately, to admit here. That's to your left, from your left to your right. That's Megan making money. That's Dana.
Her name is what?
Megan making money. Megan.
I don't think
making
that's her Christian
money.
name.
Yeah, but what's her name?
I don't know her last name.
She's Megan making money.
Yeah, she was like a gambler on Twitter who, like.
All right, who's this mustache guy?
Mustache, that's Mike Kadick. He was the center of the Indiana Hoosiers, not last season, but the season before.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
I think I've heard that they have an Indiana football player on their roster. Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
this guy with the beard?
Dana Beers.
He's a neck beard.
That guy looks like every guy on Barstool that I don't know.
Yeah, Dana Beers.
Dana
This is-
neck beard.
Yeah, and then the guy in the top right, who's supposed to be the host of the show, that's Connor.
Whoa.
I don't know Connor's last name.
Now, is that Barstool Connor?
No, he's not Barstool Connor. He's Connor
Okay.
something else.
That's not T-Rob.
No, that's not T-Bob.
They have
I
multiple
thought T-Rob
Connors?
was an everyday guy.
T-Bob.
I thought T-Bob was an everyday guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, because he's the only one with TV experience. Like he's the only one who's actually been on linear television before and knows how to have a show move.
live television
Do you think I can throw my name? Like, I'm not looking to leave 1620 the zone, but do you think I could throw my hat in the ring as someone who's been aggregated by Barstool? Like, am I in the fold enough?
I think if you
You've probably
emailed,
applied.
Me? No. But
what's their hiring processes look like?
Their hiring process.
What are they looking for?
Okay, here's their.
Do you have a DUI and an assault charge? Yes or no?
Here's their hiring processes. Are you fat? Okay, if you are fat, you are gonna get hired. They love.
Fat people are funny.
They probably do have more fat people than like ESPN or NBC.
They have no fat people at ESPN. The fat people at ESPN were previously skinny. They got old and fat, and now they're just fat. But they've been there for so long.
Or they're Jeff Saturday, and it's like you were fat when you were playing, and then you were like, I got to get TV ready.
Well, it's even like Kendrick Perkins. Like he wasn't fat when he was playing, but he got fat after he was
Fat
playing.
people are way more funny.
So number one is if you are a fat man, you have a good shot at getting hired at Barstool.
Interesting.
Number two is kind of like if you were a viral sensation, like if you did a very viral thing one time and it was just like very funny, and then they try to milk the hell out of that. Outside of that, it kind of just comes down to like if you've made a pretty popular podcast, or if you're a stand-up comedian. A lot of stand-up comedians who like get famous in the East Coast or like now so in Chicago get hired as well.
That's really nice. A lot of people aren't that far off from any of those things.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound that hard qualifications.
Have I tried to get hired at Barstool?
I assume you have.
No, I have not.
Oh.
Did I previously work with somebody at Barstool and who was like, they were working at ESPN when I was working at ESPN, they would come in and do like a regular Wednesday show.
Mm-hmm.
Did I purposefully try and get close to that guy? So like maybe possibly in the future, like I would have that connection. Absolutely.
That's why we all like Connor, right? Because he's going places.
Connor
Barstool Connor?
No, you.
No, we like you.
I'm not going anywhere.
I don't think exactly. But like at the time before I had this job, I was like, oh, that guy, that's Barstool blank. Like I'm going to be buddy with him. Like I'm going to be his best pal.
Oh,
and then, like,
who was it?
Barstool Chief. He was a Chicago Blackhawks guy.
Barstool Chief.
He was a Chicago.
I got to see this guy.
A Chicago guy.
Appropriate?
Yeah.
Was he just
He
chiefing
is
all the
probably
time?
the most PC Barstool guy. He's a very normal Chicago dude. Super nice guy.
Looks pretty normal.
My former hockey trainer is like.
So what was he good at? Like what did he do?
He's
What
a
was his
hockey
bit?
guy. He loved the Blackhawks. He's a super big Blackhawks
Like, but
guy.
when you were trying to impress Barstool Chief,
yeah,
did you ever think, wow, this guy, what does he do well?
There was-
like,
I'm-
what is he talented, or did he just work at
do you know
Barstool?
what he does well? Do you know what he does well? He's just a very nice, laid back, smart dude.
He's got the look.
Like he's just very he's just kind of chill. Like he knows what he's talking about. He's easy to get along with. And then he gets mad every once in a while, and it's funny. He's actually talented.
I think
he actually possesses some talent.
I think that's something Barstool actually does really well is everybody looks like a normal guy that is like one of your friends.
Part of their thing is like they have so many bleeping weirdos that have so many odd takes that you could put a normal guy in there and all of a sudden he seems like the best person in the world.
That's kind of what he does. That's kind of his bit.
And I thank you all for making me that guy every day on 1620 The Zone.
You're very welcome.
Idiots.
You are the most normal guy. You really are the most level-headed.
I might be.
Like
Josh,
if we were,
you might be.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be a campaign about Connor doesn't get made fun of enough because of how weird he is.
Now look at
but
me.
you don't care. It's hard to make fun of somebody who really doesn't take it personally. It's very easy to make fun of me because you get the reaction that you're looking for, and it's funny.
You do take it personally.
I
took that personally.
Wait. I don't get mad at you though. I've never been true. I've only been really mad at you once.
Oh, really?
There was only one time where I was really like F Connor. Like that.
Did you unfollow me on social media?
No, I was just I was fired up for an hour, and then I was like, he's a great guy. What am I doing? And then we were done.
What were you going to do?
Josh was here for it.
What were you going to do?
I was just pouty about it. I wasn't going to do anything.
Were you going to kill me?
No, I wasn't going to kill you. I wasn't going to plot.
Was
your
this
demise.
yesterday?
No. This was like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It was.
Josh doesn't want to go there.
I don't.
He doesn't
recall.
really remember.
Oh.
You just made a comment when you were leaving. You made like a comment that hurt me.
I do make comments.
Yeah. And I was upset about it. But this is good. This is healing. I'm not mad at you now. You're one of my very good friends. You really are one of my best friends here in Omaha. I know that I'm not even close to that realm.
Proximity means a lot.
But in Omaha, in the city of Omaha, you're one of my close.
I don't talk to people for 30 minutes a day. There's only like 2 people who I talk to for 30 minutes a day.
I think you have a general, like a genuine concern about me at points, and I very much appreciate it.
I am worried about you, yes.
What worries you the most about me?
I don't know.
Well, you should have heard the line he dropped to me this morning, Josh. I was ruffling through papers. I was trying to find papers, and I
told him where the papers were.
And I was because everyone, I keep every single note in my desk. After the show, I put them all in one file cabinet.
Whoa, you've been going loosely for quite a while. That drawer must be a disaster.
Well, no, even when I had the legal pad of paper, I would rip out the pieces of paper and put it in the desk.
Okay.
So there's a lot of paper in there for filing reasons. I'm filing, right? You never know when you'll need a note again, So today I was going through my file and I was trying to find a note. I was trying to find some notes that I needed today. And this is the first time I've done this. I left the notes in the studio overnight. And Connor goes, "Yeah, you left in the studio. You leave things everywhere." Not false.
Well, because
just no longer, by the way, want to give myself credit, no longer leave things in the bathroom.
We have shamed you out of that.
It has been a very, very long time since I've left something in the bathroom.
Yeah, you were fuzzling with stuff out there, and I was like, "What's wrong?" And
you asked me if I was triggered.
Yeah, I asked you if you were triggered because I just figured you were mad about Nebraska Ball. He's like, "No, I can't find my papers," and I was like, before you even said papers in the sentence "papers," I go, "They're in there," because I figured that's what it was about. And I read them. I read your notes.
Were you impressed?
Impressed by what?
Ooh, that's a no.
That is.
What would I have been impressed by?
Be like, wow, like Matt has some intellectual things on here, or
no, they're just stats mostly.
Yeah, that's
right.
I was just hoping you would be like, well, Matt really.
I don't blame you for writing them down. They're just stats.
They are just stats. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of stats yesterday. I I do. You have shamed me out of writing nicknames on my notes too. That is you and Snow.
Do whatever you want.
have
Whatever works for you,
successfully
baby.
done that.
Whatever works for you,
I wrote
baby.
seatbelt Sam on my notes. You were like,
You did.
appalled.
I was appalled.
You were so appalled.
I was.
You were
appalled.
like, what is this sorcery?
What? Try this. Does anyone ever do radio from up here?
No one's ever done.
Oh, I'll bet no one's done it. Yeah,
That's cool.
but yeah, I'll bet.
You look like you could be on Barstool.
Dude, I
You
feel
do,
like
yeah,
I'm on
yeah.
You
Barstool
feel
right
like
now.
you're on Wake Up. Honestly,
I
with
feel like
how-
I'm doing a couch show.
Josh,
right
you see
now.
how the pictures at when they go on the wide shot? It does look like Connor is just like a part
With
of the.
he's the
with
fifth Barstool
he's the
member.
fifth Barstool member that's like extended out into the left. What do you think about the war?
Which war?
Is that what they're talking about on Barstool?
I
today?
think yeah. The title is "What is your favorite war?" Is on the bottom ticker.
Really?
What do you think Megan making money's favorite war is?
Yeah, I think she liked the Gulf War. you know?
Nebraska versus Iowa.
Until yesterday, it was Paul Skeens' war.
Mm.
That guy's
Mm-mm-mm.
washed.
So washed. I actually read a CBS.
Nebraska versus their own brains.
I read Jesus. I mean, I don't think it was their brains yesterday. I think it was just them.
How
versus-
else would you explain it?
Their
How
hands.
do you not check into the game?
Their hands. It was their hands. It was Nebraska versus their hands
What was it about their hands?
because they couldn't shoot the ball.
I think their
well at
legs
the end
were
of the
the
oh
game.
no,
issue.
but I'm talking about when they had 4 people on the court.
I know that. Yes, that was stupid. That was dumb. Idiotic. I don't.
This is weird. Both of the big Nebraska ball people that I've talked to today, Mike Schaefer and yourself, have been like, yeah, it was a play, it happened, and
I think that-
they were probably going to lose anyway, so whatever. I'm like, I don't think you guys get it. Like, this is going to be talked about for a long time.
That's why we're deflecting it. That is exactly why we're deflecting it. We know that we have to now live with this for an extended period of time. And that, when I went to the ESPN ticker, was the top thing. Nebraska's gaff. Hoiberg takes blame for it. And we just know that over time, it's never going to go away. So why freak out about it right now when it's annex? Like, just kind of
like if the Bears lost a playoff game to the
Stop.
Packers,
stop.
and
Stop.
the reason was because
It
they
wasn't,
had
but here's the
one less
okay.
player on
So-
the field.
Oh,
Or
like
like-
if he was taunting
Like-
like fans in the stands instead of defending his player.
Or like they were down by 3. They probably weren't going to win, and the Packers had the ball, but the Packers got
It was like third and short.
yeah.
It was
and
like
they did-
third and 5.
and they didn't have enough players on the field,
and they just
and they could have had
and-
another player on the field to potentially guard their 11th player.
here's the thing. It's not the reason.
You'd be so triggered.
I am triggered. I'm
Oh.
very triggered.
okay.
I'm triggered about the whole thing.
Right.
Okay. You don't have to question whether or not I'm triggered.
Oh, I was wondering.
It's not, I disagree with you. It's not the reason they lost. The reason they lost
No,
is that
sure.
they couldn't hit a shot for the last 6 minutes of the game. And it was evident in the final 40 seconds where 7 guys took threes and they all missed them.
That was bad.
Embarrassing.
Josh, find the clank, the clank drop.
You clanking?
Yeah,
It
there
was-
you go. Barstool Connor over here sitting up on his ledge, taking a victory lap, now playing funny drops.
the clank.
That
The one of me at the chai just gung, gung, gung.
I think you can make your own clank. I think a funny clank sound would just be Connor going clank.
And I don't know what it is about the tournament. Obviously, they have great microphones.
They do.
It was just so loud.
It was so loud yesterday. Anytime it was off the back
the
rim,
clanks were getting louder and louder.
I was
and louder.
watching at DJ's dugout over downtown by the chai, and it would reverb across the entirety of the bar every time something hit back rim. It was so funny.
But the swishes are loud too. Are you playing something right now?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, I
It's
can't
funny.
hear it.
Happer basketball clank.
That's it. I don't have my headphones on because
I think
I'm
the
too
best,
cool.
I-
Barstool.
I think the best clank sound that we could get is you just going clank.
Boom.
No, just say clank.
Clank.
No. Like say it like Connor Happer. says it.
Clank.
There it is. That is the best. That is like if you did that over and over again, that would be our best clank drop. So you do look. I'm gonna be real with you. That jersey's so sexy. That is just.
Well, it's my opening day.
That's
right.
Yeah, stupid.
Very dumb.
Baseball's been going on for 2 days, and now you're playing.
Mhm.
That is the dumbest crap ever.
It is.
I did what the dumbest crap ever is the Cubs getting the brakes beaten off of them yesterday by the Nationals. The Cubs are supposed to be one of the teams that are going to contend against the Dodgers.
This is one thing that annoys me about Cubs fans.
One game.
They just live and die with every single game, and it's like there's 161 of them.
You know
left.
what annoys me about Cubs fans? It's a fly ball. Don't act like it's a home run. That's what annoys me about.
Great take, Matt.
It is the worst, most frustrating experience I've ever experienced. Oh my god!
Contact was made.
Dude, it's a can of corn. It's a can of corn. Andrew McCutchen has been surfing under this ball for the last 33 seconds.
Although I did hear Connor Happer on a broadcast the other week say, I got to get my baseball eyes back.
Seriously, sometimes you can't tell.
Can't really.
Well, because like you're looking at a variety of different things. But I think most chiefly the batter and the batter's sort of swing. How does it look? Their follow through, and they could like all of that could be awesome.
Yeah,
but it goes off the end of the bat, and it only comes off the bat at 82 miles an hour, and it's a pop up.
Baseball eyes is a great adjective.
So yeah, like we're up, and I can't tell when a ball is going to go 450 feet or if it's going to go, 350 feet. So we're just got to get our baseball.
I don't know. I treat like looking at baseballs like a contractor looking up at a roof. Doesn't look too good. It's like
But what if it is good?
I'm pretty good at fly ball to home run ratios when it comes to when things come off the bat.
But what if you you're forced to say something? You're like calling the game, like you have to decide one way or the other.
Oh, I would.
Is this ball hit good or not?
Right.
It'd be tough.
It's hard.
It'd be very tough.
Sometimes it's hard.
I'm not that we're going there, but you would definitely be better at that than I am. But sitting in my chair, sitting in my seat, it is so annoying being at Cubs games, and it's like they just hit, and everybody freaks the hell out about like a ball that's going to be caught in right field very lazily, very easily, and it's embarrassing for us.
Going to Wrigley is more of a social thing than a baseball thing. Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah.
Instagram.
It is. Yes, that's what it is, and which is why I've said this all the time. Wrigley as a tourist attraction, awesome, incredible, phenomenal. It's you've called it a cathedral of baseball before with me.
It's great. It's terrific.
Like, it's insane. Going there like 20, 30 times a year to watch baseball games when you are like really in on the Cubs and you care about their season is not great. It's not great. It's a beer fest. It's a booze bag. It's people who don't know baseball who are all there.
I bet they have a really high ratio. I wonder what the highest ratio of out-of-towners per game would be.
I think it's
I bet the Cubs are like 1, 2, or 3.
Mm-hmm. Certainly no lower, right?
Yeah. It's them, the Yankees, and
the Red Sox
and Boston.
And the Red Sox. I would say the Red Sox are probably 1, and I would go the Cubs 2. And then I
might have the Cubs 1.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's as many. I don't think it's as many. I think it's a lot in comparison to the league, but I don't think it's as much as you think. Because there are just a lot of people who just live down there.
How many do the Athletics have?
0
out-of-towners per game.
0.
That would be.
I drove up from Oakland. I still love this
I would love
team.
to see those numbers. Those would be terrific numbers. Yeah. Now, when Vegas comes into the league, they're number 1 by far.
Yeah, easily.
A million times over.
Do people live in Vegas?
Well, people do live in Vegas, but they don't go to the Strip, famously.
I think a sneaky team that would on the out-of-towners per game list would be the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay, why?
Because that park is just so awesome. Many people
Camden
love
Yards.
that park, and I think that if there was any, I've never been to Baltimore.
You're saying there's nothing to do in Baltimore.
But if I was ever in Baltimore in my life, I'd be like, we are going.
You
to
go to Innahaba,
yeah.
get a crab cake or whatever.
When you and John are in Crown Town,
yes,
just kind of ask the people who work and live there. You excited for baseball to come to town? You excited for the NBA to come to town?
Yeah.
The answer is going to be unanimously no, right?
Do a little straw poll.
I'll do a tiny mic.
Tiny mic straw poll.
That was what I was going to suggest, but I didn't know if you'd be game for it.
I love tiny microphones. I love content.
I loved it when you were vlogging at the Blur tailgate over in Kansas City.
Yes, I got to bring my camera.
That was fun.
I bring my camera.
That was actually, I think, my favorite part of the trip was literally just sitting at Kauffman Stadium in one of those seats and just looking at that stadium.
That was a fun day. And Josh was a fan of the OJ Chase video.
You were a fan of the Kansas City Royals 2014 AL wildcard game.
That is correct.
That was your favorite by far.
That is correct.
We gave a madman the remote control.
Well,
and then I go, you want to put on Game 7 in the World Series? And you go, no,
come
OJ.
on, come on, we're done with that. Then we watched the OJ Chase / the Baba Booey prank call.
It was really funny in Kansas City where I expressed that I was not alive for OJ and I don't really know a whole lot about OJ, and all of the old timers there were like, well, we gotta see this video.
It was exciting to see you watch the OJ Chase for the first time.
It was
watch it through your eyes.
That was a really big draw for me.
Like at one point Bishop was like, no, you got to show him this one.
We remembered angles and conversations during the wall-to-wall breaking news coverage from Peter Jennings and Al Michaels.
It was
Al Michaels. It's a farcical phone call.
It was a Bishop masterclass like no one like I've never seen before.
Of being old.
Yeah. And then like Gary would like pepper in some like really good jokes like on top of it. It was a great time. That house man was a great time.
That was fun.
That was a very, very, and then we went to, I remember we were being like, I told you I've never had barbecue in Kansas City before. And you took it upon yourself to make a reservation at the best barbecue place, arguably in Kansas City.
It's good.
It was awesome. Those ribs. I still think about
I love
ribs.
Q39. I go there pretty much every time I go.
I've been thinking about doing a Kansas City lunch sometimes just to like
Kansas City for lunch.
Just to curry favor with you. Just to be like, see, Happer, I did it.
I'd be excited about what you would learn at Kansas City for lunch.
It would be Kansas City for an early dinner at this point, now at my current time slot.
Sure. But you could do it. I mean, you could actually do it where the Royals are playing at home. You go to Kansas City, eat some food, go to the game.
Yeah.
And then either drive back or drive back in the morning.
I think I would drive back immediately.
Sure. Get back at midnight or whatever and then come here and do your show. Nothing ever happened.
That sounds fun.
It kind of sounds awesome,
and then
doesn't
just
it?
drop it on the crossover. Hey, Connor, you know what I did yesterday after the show?
You know what?
I went to Kansas City for late dinner.
I would tweet.
I want to know everything.
Nothing about it. I would tweet nothing about it.
I would want to know everything. I have so many questions.
I wouldn't mention one word, and then I would just come on the crossover and be like, "All right, boys, I'm in high.
Where'd you sit? Where'd you go to lunch? What'd you do?
Yeah, and then
I spend your time.
And I would take
stop
pictures.
on the way.
Yeah. Dude, did I go to the Platte City QT?
Platte City QT.
Did I see her? You should have called Bricktown, Oklahoma City.
I know
that was a missed
I
opportunity.
got to get back up on my big game.
Oh yeah.
You really, because you would have been done great in being like, "Are you ready?" Like I
wouldn't know the spot to call, but I mean, maybe could
have looked at a map.
Maybe it was like a visitors bureau.
That would have been
you could have called.
That would have been a peak the Connor Happer show segment. You and I would never do this, but you two would like going through the map and trying to find where to call would be one segment, and then actually making the call would be the next segment.
Yeah, no doubt. We should have done that. I got to get back on my bit game. My bit game ain't strong.
Are you kind of
right
now. You just you're
you're figuring it out.
You're putting together a new show.
It's a new show.
I know.
It's hard.
Josh and I had an off the air meeting on the air yesterday, and it was very productive.
I thought that was a pretty good bit.
That's like we're forming. I mean, there was a conversation though about the fact that we're not innovating radio. We're actually going back in time in terms of radio.
Yeah. That's innovation in a way.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to see if we can do the things that apparently you no longer can do. If we can do it in
like what?
Like this week in women's history.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, people, I mean, look at
people
Barstool.
Love it. I know. Look at
people
Megan
like
making money.
Chicks. You know?
Family Man Happer just being like, yeah, you need one hot chick and 3 dudes.
Look, our audience is,
one hot chick and 70 dudes.
We know, like, why would we skirt around it?
That's good. See, that's what I'm asked.
People
that's what I ask on Thursdays. I go, why beat around the bush?
I beat around the bush to a certain extent.
To a very, very certain extent. To a very specific line. How is your Final Four looking? Mine's looking terrible.
I think everybody's still in there. I had
Mine's
no, I don't have whoever was supposed to be out of Nebraska's region.
Houston?
Yeah, they died last night.
So
I have Illinois, I found out last night.
Nice. That boy Josh. I had Arkansas. Oof.
Other than that, I had Arizona, Iowa State, and Duke. I believe.
Quickly before we go, I think you'll like this. I'm in a pool. I'm in a college basketball pool.
Mm.
And what we do in the college basketball pool is that in the preseason, before the season even begins, you pick 3 teams. You pick a Power 5 team, a mid-major team, and a low-major team.
Oh.
Okay? Pick those 3 teams. It's 6 guys. The buy-in's $100. Okay?
Whoa.
And you pick those 3 teams, and we have a draft. Like now, how we decide the draft order is you're randomly given a golfer in the U.S. Open, and then where the golfer finishes in
Sure.
the U.S. Open, that's where you end up like drafting. And so my 3 teams. So whoever you pick 3 teams, and the team to go the farthest in the NCAA tournament, that's the winner. Okay.
Oh, so there's only one team.
There's only one. Yeah. So if you
Chances are your national champion's going to be drafted.
So last year I won the pool with Alabama, making the Elite 8.
Oh, wow.
This year I have Purdue, and they made the Elite 8.
Does
And
anybody have
there's one guy who had Houston, big loss yesterday.
somebody have Duke?
Someone's got Michigan.
There you go.
That's
That's your
tough.
only competition.
That's my only competition. Now, I would because Purdue plays Arizona now, and that's going to be a tall task. That's going to be hard.
I do not like Purdue's chances.
I don't like Purdue's chances either.
about to get crevassed.
But
Say, Mr. Oscar Ogre Clough.
What-
You're about to get crevassed.
Clough's been playing great basketball.
Yeah, he's about to get crevassed. You see that, dude?
That sounds inappropriate.
I know it does, but watch it. Watch
They
it.
have,
happen.
by the way, they have 7 of those dudes on Arizona. Is the issue?
I know they're giant.
Koa Pete is like a massive human being. He's like their 6th best player.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They're gonna get bullied.
They're so good.
They're gonna get bullied.
Arizona did pay for my bar tab yesterday, so shout out the Wildcats. It was very nice of them.
Thanks.
Yeah, I know Tommy Lloyd called in and everything.
Wow.
He was like, I'll pick it up for him.
No kidding.
The kid is sad.
That's awesome.
He's so sad. And then I sang a sad song, and then I went home. That was my night.
What sad song did you sing?
Yeah.
When I Was Your Man. And the reason I sang,
You did karaoke and you did When I Was Your Man.
I did karaoke by myself alone.
have bought you flowers.
That's how I was thinking about this season.
Flowers.
I should have held the season's hand. I should have given the season all my hours when I had the chance. Take it. Go to every game because I remember how much you loved to dance.
Flowers.
Connor,
Yep.
always a pleasure. That's the
Always a
crossover.
pleasure.
Powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. A more melancholy edition of Middays with Matt is coming next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people.
Whose car are we going to take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt live here on 1620 The Zone. Don't forget to call into us today, 42951-1620, the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. That one hurt.
You know, just before we really get into this, I just want to say, at the end of Nebraska basketball season last year, in this time slot, we went 3 hours without acknowledging it. I'm giving you that option now.
You know what, Josh?
It rubbed people the wrong way last year.
I'm going to face my difficulties. I'm going to face my fears.
That's very brave of you. Thank you for your bravery.
I'm going to face my pain.
Okay.
Not for me, not for you, but for the other Husker basketball fans that might be listening to the show. That one hurt.
That's a real kick in the plums.
Yep. That's a real. That's a groin kick. That's what that is.
I believe this would be Zachariah in the chat. Could have saved yourself the pain, Matt, and went on that date.
That was bad. That was tough. There's going to be a lot of conversations about like, did this ruin the season? And, was this the worst possible outcome? And, how will this affect how we look at this year from here on out because of how it ended? And look, all of those conversations are fine. I mean, a lot of that stuff, Josh Otson, is very subjective, and it's in the eye of the beholder, right? We're all allowed to have our own personal interpretation of how we view the season now that it's over. And I'm not going to be the person to tell you how you should feel. You're going to feel the way that you want to feel, right? That one, though, like, I was thinking about this last night, and I texted you this. I think I've lost, like, the teams that I've rooted for in my life. I think I've lost like a combined 3,000 games.
Whoa,
like
how do you know that?
in like I was thinking about it, like all the Cubs losses and like the 82 game seasons of the Blackhawks and the Bulls, and then you add in all the Husker football losses and the Chicago Bears losses. Like, I think in my 23 years on this planet, the team that I wanted to win has lost over 2,000 times, right? But there are losses that you'll never forget. You're just never going to forget some losses. I will never forget the double doink. That will never. I just see it. I just see it right now. I can close my eyes and I can see it. I close my eyes and I see Daniel Murphy hitting home runs in the 2015 NLCS. I close my eyes and I see Penn State reverse sweeping Nebraska volleyball in the Final Four. Like, there are losses that will never leave you, right? There are ones that are painful at the time. We're like, oh, that stings. Like, that sucks. But as time progresses, they kind of fade away in your memory. They kind of escape. The Maryland loss in 2023, where Nebraska football had three different quarterbacks with Harburg, Sims, and Purdy, and you just absolutely blew that game. You go, ugh. That's good. Even like the 2021 Michigan State loss. That sucked, but then you kind of learn to move on. But there are some, like the 2021 Michigan game, that just never leave. And that was yesterday between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. That is one that you're just never going to forget it. That pain will always be there. You are going to think about this incredible, magical season, and it was a magical season. This is magical seasons are tough to come by. They really are. There are so many outside, there's so many outside circumstances, so many external factors that have to play in the magic being there, and that's why it's just so rare. The only other magical season I can really tell you about is the 2015 Chicago Cubs, because like Nebraska basketball, they came out of nowhere. No one thought they would be that good. They made the run that they made. They were trying to accomplish something that they had not accomplished in a very, very long time. It was a cast of characters that at the time were young and incredibly likable. Like the similarities between that 15 Cubs team and this Nebraska basketball team for me is so it's there, right? This was a magical, magical year. And it's just so bitter that it ended that way. And it has nothing to do with them losing in the Sweet 16. Right? Them losing in the Sweet 16, you just go, yeah, I mean, they were a good team. They were a really, really good team. They weren't a great team.
We said it earlier in the week. Whenever they lost, it was we hit the point of it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt. But eventually, like you move past that. But man, like losing to Iowa, are you kidding me? This is how it ended. This is how the greatest season in Nebraska basketball history came to a conclusion. That's painful, man. That's cruel. That's unusual. That's tough. And it's you're sitting there and all of these thoughts are going through your head. And I just had a blank stare at the TV for like 5 minutes. Just a very blank stare. Just like, I don't know what was real. I can't really tell you what was going through my head other than remembering what the good moments were. And we will celebrate the good moments on the show today, which is why I want you to call in 402-951-1620. If you're a Nebraska basketball fan, call in and spill out your guts if you want to about this year, what it meant to you. And also, too, if you want to spill out your guts about the game itself, that's totally fine as well. I have some complaints about the game, too. We will definitely get to that as well. We will hit so many points today about Nebraska basketball. But I think the main one is, though, very rarely, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that often when you lose a game. And you go, I'm not forgetting this one. I'm not forgetting this one. This one is going to live. It's going to be like a piece of gum I just swallowed. This thing is going to be here for a while. And that's what yesterday was. And, I think there are a lot of fun things that we'll talk about today. And, I also do think too, like there will be a conversation to be had about, man, like Nebraska basketball had a game announced by Kevin Harlan, Stan Van Gundy, and Robbie Hummel, who, by the way, Robbie was phenomenal on the call yesterday. So impressed by him. I'm such a big fan of Robbie Hummel in the color analyst chair. Like, the fact that Nebraska basketball was on that stage in that moment in front of the entire nation, it felt like, because it just like everybody was watching those games and was all on Twitter and the interaction. Like the fact that Nebraska was on that stage and now has the momentum it has from the fan base, from donors, reportedly, from articles you read, in terms of they got 2 4-stars who are coming from high school on the team. Man, if they can keep Braden and Price together for next season, like there's a lot of happy, positive things to not only think about this season, but also the next season as well as for Nebraska. But the point is always this. You're never going to have another first. You're never going to have your first ever NCAA tournament victory again. You're never going to have your first ever Sweet 16 appearance again. And that was a part of the magic. And for this special, special, special season to end the way that it did, it sucks. It just sucks. For me personally, there definitely have been losses that have been worse than this. Okay, actually not too long ago, if I'm being honest. But for a lot of people, especially the diehard Nebraska basketball fans, who I love so dearly because they are, talk about loyal people. The people who are season ticket holders for Nebraska basketball, who have gone through day ones, P1 people who have just struggled through so many disappointing seasons after disappointing season after disappointing season, for them to still be here and live this out and see it happen and experience the season. I am so happy for those people that they were able to experience this season. I also, though, hold Jack Mitchell and Mike Schaefer and those diehards in my heart because, man, this is just, it's a terrible way to end. It's a terrible, terrible way to end. And we will dissect it all. We will dissect it all. We will dissect the game. We will dissect individual performances. We will dissect what did I would do. We will dissect Ben McCollum and his impact on the game and whether or not how long is he going to be the Iowa Hawkeye head coach. We will talk all about it. We will talk about what the season meant to us and all that stuff. But this is a tough one. This is tough. I jokingly, but slightly truthful, it will be more of a melancholy type episode, especially when we go to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 402-951-1620. Love to take your calls all day. Let's go to Alan on the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Alan, that was rough.
Hi, Matt.
That's rough, man. It was a rough one.
Yeah, buddy. You know, when we went into half and they were right with us, my son turned to me and he's like, "Man, Dad, when we watched the Vanderbilt game, we had a lead on them at a half." And he's like, "I'm worried." And I'm like, "We'll be okay."
Yeah.
You know, but then I saw Matt Rule in the stands. And I'm not saying it's Matt's fault, but man, to all teams, it had to be Iowa. And you know, the crazy thing is, I don't have any ill will about Iowa. My dad's from Iowa. There's great people in Iowa. It's just, why?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Great season. I tell you what, man, I'm part of that resurgence in viewership of college basketball. I just got so tired of watching teams dribble it down their leg, you know, and let things go, that it kind of made me a little jaded towards watching Nebraska play almost anything. But this basketball season really kind of reminded me about the joy of watching sports and Nebraska succeed. And I can only hope that the quietness of, isn't there a spring game coming up?
Yeah.
Like
On Saturday, there is.
Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that the quietness of from the football program really kind of just helps them. I mean, I know that schedule next year is brutal. I don't expect them to do probably more than 5 wins, but I think the thing I got most frustrated about was watching Bo Pelini, and he'll have these great 9-win seasons. He'd have these good teams, but then they just get blown out.
Yeah.
So that frustration built over to, all right, can we just go to 9 wins and be in every game, you know? And then it just went further and further down. But this basketball team is giving me kind of renewed hope in being able to enjoy college sports again. So all in all, I'm super happy about how the season went. Not happy at all with how the game lost. I mean, there were 28%, I think it was, in the second half on shooting percentage.
Yeah,
you know, that's the drought that I think if we could get over. You know what? You're watching the game, and I just got frustrated. You see, it looked like they got tired. It just looked like Rink. He had 2 shots straight on from the top of the key. One he airballed and one hit off the front of the rim. And from when we used to play basketball, that's what my coach used to just scream at. You got to condition, because that shot's going to end up short when your legs are tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's all I got. It was a great season, but God, why did it have to be Iowa?
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. I hear you. Thanks, Alan. Really appreciate it. It's only in Nebraska where it's like the basketball team loses the game. You're like, they showed the football coach. Why'd they show the losing football coach? We don't need that mojo. We don't need that funk. It's also funny too. Like typically, like the end of the basketball season means, all right, we get to speculate about football season. And I don't think anybody wants to do that, which is kind of reflective of the current state of Nebraska football, which we will have plenty of time, and we're not going to use that time today to talk about that. Alec is on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Alec, what do you got for me, my friend?
Hey, McMaster, it's good to hear from you. I listen all the time. And, you know, the same feeling of the last caller, the heartbreak, you know, you're a gambler. We haven't been out gambling yet.
We have to do that, Alec. We do.
We have to do that. But, you know, I won a little bit of money last night. And when you win a gambling, that's like the biggest high that you could ever get. And, of course, Nebraska losing to Iowa is like the opposite side, the absolute worst low that you could ever have. And I would give all my money away to see Nebraska win. I don't even care. I don't even care. I'd give all my money to see Nebraska win. But, you know, I was thinking about another person last night, another diehard like you mentioned. Let's go back to like March. I think it was March. It was last season. Nebraska ball not in the same position. And you had a call in the morning. You
Okay.
get a call in the morning by a certain gentleman that we both know by the name of Jacob Bigelow. And you asked him, Jake, or maybe it was your coworker at the time.
Yeah.
Looking forward to spring football. Looking forward to spring football, Jacob. And he was like, no, why would I care about spring football? They haven't given me anything in a decade. It's basketball season. Maybe we should care about basketball season. And I find it so interesting that after a year, look at what a difference a year makes.
Yeah.
Now we're like, this is the most irrelevant spring game maybe in the last 20 years. And I don't think I could name a game that Nebraska's played since maybe 2009 Big 12 championship game against Texas with 1 second left on the clock that I would sell a kidney for to see it go the other way.
Sure.
But last night I would sell a kidney for it to go the other way. And I'm not asking because he didn't put me up to this, but I just want to say it's tough being right early. I think our good friend Mr. Bigelow was right just a little bit too early.
Yeah.
And I hope that next year, the same thing happens. We let basketball have its time and the other sports have their time before we start speculating on a sport that hasn't given us enough yet.
Hell of a call.
Nebraska basketball, yep. Great season. Thinking of all of our diehards. So much fun, but man, it's tough to be right a little too early.
Yes. Alec, phenomenal call. This is the thing. Look, we're going to be sad today. We're going to be upset today. We are going to talk about this game and why it didn't go the way that we wanted it to go. But this is the most important part of this season. And Alec kind of already, he's talking about being right a little bit too early. He's kind of maybe showing it a little bit earlier than most people. But there's going to be a hunger now for basketball. There's going to be, people got a taste of what winning NCAA tournament games is like in this fan base. People got a taste of what being super competitive in the Big Ten feels like. People got a taste of being rewarded for your investment being used properly, right? Because that's what Fred Hoiberg and this team did. They took an investment from people and they used it properly, and now they're going to get a bigger investment. People have a taste of that and they want more of it. Alec being like, you know what? I want more basketball. I want us to give us more shine to this program because they deserve it. Today's going to be sad. Okay. We're going to have takes and we're going to have people who said, you know what? Why didn't they play the way that they were earlier in the year? And why didn't this guy, he needed to step up and he didn't step up? And why did this player decide to have his worst season, game of the season in this moment? We're going to have those conversations today. We are going to have the conversation of, Fred, you're out of a timeout. How do you only have 4 guys out there on a very important inbound play? We'll have that conversation. But sooner rather than later, we're going to turn this thing around to the point where people are like, all right, you know what? I want a redemption arc next season. I want the same thing. I got a taste of winning, and I can't get it out of my mouth. I got a fever. And the only thing that could be my prescription is more Big Ten wins, baby. All right? I got to have more Big Ten, baby. That's what people are going to say.
More big wins.
More big wins, baby. People are going to say that. So look, today's going to be sad. Today's going to suck.
No.
But
it's Friday. It's not snowing.
Josh Hodson, you know as well as I do, the days of the week do not apply after a terrible, terrible loss has been
There's
suffered.
more hoops.
Really good hoops, by the way.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, okay.
Baseball's back.
I get it. I get the whole I want Cinderella back and everything like that. Hey, so do I. I love a great 14 seed, right? Matt McMaster for 14 seeds. Do you see the matchups? I mean, I know we're hankering for Butler and VCU and
the
FDU.
slate this weekend is sex.
Woo! My God.
Yeah.
Izzo is going to coach against Hurley, and that's like the 4th storyline that we're having this weekend. It's crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous how many good games we have, man.
Not to shift gears completely, but a lot of these basketball fans, they've been so involved in this basketball team, they don't realize Will Bolt and his crew, I don't think
they are killing it.
They haven't lost a game in like 6 years or something like that. I don't know.
They're ranked. Baseball's ranked,
They've
baby.
won like 49,000 games in a row. Rough estimate.
I keep saying this over and over again, Josh. The Nebraska athletic department is killing it.
Softball's on national TV tonight.
Every week they're on national TV, it seems like. I mean, they're ranked too. Volleyball is a power program. Basketball just made a Sweet 16. Baseball is ranked. Track and field has Axelina Johansson. She's going to be, if she wasn't already in the Olympics, she'll probably end up being in the Olympics.
Wrestling had a hell of a run.
Wrestling got third in the national championships in NCAA. Nebraska athletics is killing it. It's
for you, Joe.
It's the one sport that is on the biggest stage that keeps failing over and over again. But everybody else is doing great. That's the thing. But that's the one thing, though. Like, LSU fired that athletic director, Scott Woodward, we talked about yesterday, right? And LSU had the same thing going on where they had a bunch of other sports that were killing it. Baseball was killing it. Women's basketball was killing it. LSU athletics was overall incredibly healthy, but you don't get that one football thing right, and people start looking at you sideways, right? So Big Troy Dannon's doing a hell of a job if you're just judging him on the overall health of the Nebraska athletic department. But it's just football. Figure it out. Figure it out. Dang it. We continue to talk about the Nebraska-Iowa game throughout the rest of the day. We'll continue to talk about the Houston-Illinois game, the Arizona-Arkansas game, the other matchups, Purdue and Texas, Purdue and Arizona. That's going to be one hell of a battle. Can't wait for that. We also have to talk about St. John's and Duke. We have to talk about Michigan taking on Alabama, UConn versus Michigan State. The slate this weekend is going to be awesome in college basketball. We'll hit on all of that. We also will have Austin Jacobson on at 1 o'clock, Brian Christopherson on at 11:30, and at 12:20, we will have our very own Josh Peterson in the TSA line in Houston. Over under for Josh and the boys to get through security. We're going to set it at 3.5 hours. Is that what we're going to put it at? We'll put it at 3.5 hours. Over under 3.5 hours. I think that's a great line. Have a phenomenal show with a bit of sprinkle of sadness throughout it. Coming up here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And don't forget to email us on the Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take bank personally. Old Man Doug, shout out, one of our favorites. Pick up on the first screen every time that you go in bank with Equitable Bank.
And when we're saying shout out Old Man Doug, he is going to help John and Connor get to Crown Town next week.
Nice.
Our Crown coverage will be presented by Equitable Bank.
Doug's one of the best. One of the best. And I'll say this, cares a lot about Nebraska football.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very big Creighton basketball fan. That's what makes him a J-sker.
J-sker, yes.
He is a J-sker. Probably the nicest and most respectful J-sker. Like, if you're going to be a J-sker, I got no problem with that, by the way. I mean, you do you. You live your life, man. Okay? Just as long as you don't tell me how I live my life, I won't tell you how to live your life. But at the same time, there are some J-sker fans who can be, a little.
These are the people
a little judgmental.
Huss was talking about.
Old Man Doug, one of the best J-skers we know. So shout out Old Man Doug. And shout out for him sending Connor to Crown Town. Shout out Old Man Doug, the best in the business. Equitable Bank. They take banking personally. And if you're mad at anything that we say today and you want to tweet at us at Matt McMedia, at Producer Josh, that's on the Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking. It's just it's a weird, I don't think it's going to be a weird show, but it's always a weird subject to talk about when you're talking about a team that accomplished so much and you're so proud of what they did and they provided you so many great memories and moments that you're going to never forget. I'm never going to forget the buzzer beater 3 in Champaign from Jamarcus Lawrence, make room for daddy. Okay? Like you will never forget that. I will never forget what the atmosphere looked like because I wasn't there, but the atmosphere and what the Michigan State and Nebraska game really was for people, and just
make room for daddy.
How just electric that game was, and that Michigan State game, that was circled, man. That was like, all right, Nebraska basketball. I think they were 11-0 heading into that game. They hadn't played the best competition. They had beaten New Mexico. They beat Kansas State. Remember that Kansas State game? How fun that Kansas State game was? I mean, it turned out complete opposite for those teams at the end of the day. But the Oklahoma game at the Sanford Pentagon,
is this real?
Is this real, right? Yeah, you're totally right. It's like they've beaten Power 5 teams, but they haven't beaten the top teams yet. They look good, but it's not the best competition. Mm-hmm. That Michigan State game was the line in the sand. That was all right, how much are we really going to invest in this season? Are my eyes lying to me? Because your eyes would tell you, all right, hey, you know what? It's one of Creighton's worst teams in a very long time. They went to Vegas. They got their butts whooped. Maybe in years past, Nebraska beating Creighton by 20 would be a real indication that this team is for real. But okay, we got to see them play a top-ranked team in Michigan State for us to really, really know that. And that January 2nd game, after they had beaten Illinois, that Michigan State game at home, that was all right, here we go. They had beaten Illinois, but all right, was Illinois a fluke, or is this team an actual Sweet 16 team? And they beat them, man. They beat them. And that atmosphere was insane. It was incredible. Then you can't forget, that Indiana game. They go on the road to Bloomington. Jamarcus had 28 points in that game. I mean, he was absolutely phenomenal. Carried them to victory in that one. And that's when, things were cooking. And Jamarcus said he had 27 in that game. But it was just all the moments that this team provided you this season, all of the games that they won, and all of the, I'll never forget that 4-game stretch between Oregon, Northwestern Washington, and Minnesota, where they just kicked the crap out of those teams. They went on the road and, played bad teams in the Big Ten, but we saw plenty of times this season where it's just some teams got on the road in the Big Ten. It's a tough place to win. It's a tough conference to win road games. And they just kicked the crap out of those 4 teams and steamrolled them. Whew. That was awesome. And even the Michigan game that they ended up losing, like the first game of the season, even that was a source of pride, right? Where you don't have Rink got sick. Remember that? I feel like we forget that. Rink got sick. He got really sick. They had to bring him back to the hospital after he landed in Ann Arbor. That's how bad it was. And like he didn't have his best stuff a couple of games after that. And we were like, I don't think people understand how down bad Rink was. I remember getting, I can reveal this now. I remember getting a text from somebody who was around the program when they were in Ann Arbor. And there was the rumblings that were coming out about Rink apparently he's got a stomach bug. And I remember somebody texting me being like, he's down bad, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, that's right. We were asking out loud on the radio, like, okay,
who knows what
kind of stomach bug is this? Is this like I'm going to go to work and power through it? Or is this
Josh,
both ends? I'm going to take a day and get some Gatorade.
We were like near the infancy of this show. And like, it was one of our best original segments where we went on the message boards and we started reading everybody's flu remedies.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yes.
We started reading, like everybody on the message boards were like revealing what they do when they get sick as recommendations for Rink and what
you got to make chicken noodle soup. You got to take all the stuff out of it and just drink the broth.
One guy on the message boards was like, Zicam? I've never heard of that. What's Zicam? Once you feel it,
they got the owl in the commercial.
Once you feel it coming, you put it right on that tongue. You let it dissolve. You won't get sick, but you got to hit it right away. You got to be early with the Zicam. Right? We're laughing, but these are the moments that this team provided us where it's just like, man, they went to Illinois and they beat that team. Jamarcus Lawrence, we had the Jamarcus Lawrence game in Bloomington again. They had that stretch where they looked undeniable between Oregon, Northwestern, Washington, and Minnesota. They were the number 5 ranked team in the country at one point, knocking on the door of being a 1 seed. Nebraska basketball, knocking on the door of being a 1 seed. And also, too, and I'm like going through the schedule here, this team didn't lose like one really, really bad game. Okay, the UCLA game was tough. Losing by 20, that was a tough one. West Coast road trip. Let's flush that one down. But they didn't lose to a Maryland. They didn't lose to a Rutgers. They didn't lose to a Washington or a Northwestern or one of the just, awful teams in the Big Ten. They didn't lose a quad 2, quad 3, or quad 4 game all season long.
They never really had that data point where you could go, fool's gold. You're looking at fool's gold. And it turned out it wasn't.
It wasn't. They waited the second weekend.
Yeah.
They would not. And they nearly, by the way, too, it was a very close game. They did not score for 5 minutes in the second half. Okay. Mm-hmm. And all right. That was our fun little stroll down memory lane, how fun the season was. Let's get a little serious here. Why did they lose yesterday? Right? Why did they lose? Well, they lost because in the last 5 minutes of the game, last 6 minutes, they didn't score a bucket. They scored with 6:16 left to go in the contest. They did not score another point until 58 seconds left to go. Okay? And the knock on this team, and the thing that really held them back initially on in the rankings, right? Remember, Nebraska basketball at first wasn't getting properly ranked. Like they had to beat so many high quality teams to actually garner the respect that they deserved. And if we remember, the reason why people were a little hesitant on this Nebraska basketball team was because they didn't have that superstar lottery pick NBA player. They didn't have the Cam Boozer. They didn't have the Darius Acuff. They didn't have the Darren Peterson. They didn't have the AJ Dybanska. They didn't have the Burries. They didn't have the Naismith player of the year. They didn't have that guy, that dude. I remember having a great conversation with Connor Happer about him saying, you know what Nebraska doesn't have is they don't have that Kingston Fleming. Like they don't have that Wagler. They just don't have that MFer who through, in the backcourt, we're just going to give the ball and you're going to go, hey, go and win us this game.
So many people found the team that much more lovable this season because of it.
Because of that. But at the end of the day, do you know what Iowa had? Iowa had that guy. Iowa had that guy They had Bennett Skirts. They had the exact dude that you would give the ball to in a crunch time situation. They had the exact guy where they could flow the offense through him. They had the exact dude who is going to be taken in the first round of the NBA draft. And that dude had 20 points, 7 of 15 from the field with 4 assists, and more importantly, no turnovers. Iowa turned the ball over yesterday 5 times. 5 times they turned the ball over. And that was kind of the difference. 6 minutes left to go. It was at that point it was 65-62. And Iowa had a guy who was going to be playing in the NBA running the show. And he was initiating the offense and he was creating shots for his guys. And then he made that big 3-pointer to make it 68-65. And that was the difference. That was the difference. Now, we could talk about Sam having 5 turnovers and Rink not playing. Rink came out hot and I jinxed him big time. Oh no. I texted you. I was like, I was like, Fob 2 is fobbing.
Yeah.
Like Rink is playing great ball. If Rink is playing this way the entire game, this is going to be a blowout. And they were leading by double digits in the first half. Like you were thinking, man, this could be the Rink game. This could be the guy. Like
first 30 minutes, your fob about the rebounding was right as well.
Yeah. And it was just one of those things where he comes out hot and you're like, all right, this is the Rink we need. If we get this Rink, here we go. And then he went 4-15 and didn't hit a 3-pointer. And I was listening earlier today to Schaefer. It was a great point by Schaefer. Nebraska had 2 great performances. And the key to this team is, okay, you need 2 guys, you need 1 or 2 guys to step up and play above their level. And then everybody else is just really consistent and very good at basketball where it all figures itself out. Well, they had 2 guys who had phenomenal performances, and Braden Frager and Price Sanford. And we'll have a conversation about both those guys later in the show, more so about Price. I just don't understand how you can watch this NCAA tournament run from him as an NBA GM and not think, okay, we need to have that guy in our system. And when I make the tweet, I don't understand how he isn't an NBA draft pick. I'm not saying to you that I don't understand how he isn't a first-round draft pick. I understand the potential limitations that it comes with Price Sanford in terms of he's not the biggest guy. He's not the strongest dude. Defense isn't his specialty, right? But I don't understand how you look at that length and that height and that shooting ability. And more importantly, it's not like this guy just plants himself in the corner and just, flat-footed, catches a perfectly open shot and hits it. No, this dude is coming off of screens. He's turning around. He's given 0 daylight. He just pulls the trigger so quickly and just hits a shot. And it's like automatic. I don't understand how there's not NBA teams who go, whoa, like we can work with that. But anyway, that you can say what you want about Iowa getting really hot and Nebraska, being at a disadvantage because they've played, Nebraska's advantage against teams was in the NCAA tournament that they hadn't seen a defensive system like Nebraska before. And people, very smart people, had made the points of, man, Nebraska is going to be a really tough matchup for teams that are outside of the Big Ten because they don't know what's going to hit them. And unfortunately for Nebraska, they ended up playing a team that had seen them not once but twice. And Iowa knew exactly kind of what they were doing in terms of coming up against the Nebraska defense. They knew exactly where the guy on the weak side needed to be, and they knew exactly how to get the ball to the open spots on the weak side, and they knew kind of how to trigger those double teams. There was a moment, and I can't tell you exactly when I think it was in the second half, where Fulgaris had the ball near like the block, and he felt like he had a sixth sense that the double team was coming. He couldn't see the double team coming. His eyes were completely turned away from where the double team was, but he knew that where he was with the ball and playing Nebraska as much as he did before that moment, that the double team was coming. He got it out right away and they rotated around and they hit a shot, right? It's unfortunate for Nebraska that they played a team that knew them like that. They knew their defensive system like that. And also too, like Iowa just got hot, man. Like Iowa hit 13 threes. Iowa shot 52% from the floor. Bennett Skirts has been terrible this tournament from a shot making perspective, and he nearly made half of the shots and he scored 20 points. Like it was kind of one of those instances where just Iowa is so well coached. Ben McCollum is a dog. They knew how to attack Nebraska's defense, and they attacked it, and they scored 77 points. And yet, despite all of what I've just told you, Nebraska had a 70% chance of winning the game with 6 minutes to go.
Legs look to be a problem in the last 3 minutes.
And that's shocking considering the fact that, hey, yeah, it's not a problem that this team has had this season, albeit, though, played 6 guys, essentially. I mean, Kale only had 12 minutes of play yesterday. I mean, that's not a lot. And they completely cut out. Jared Garcia had 2 minutes in this tournament, turned the ball over, and it was over. It was done.
All right, get out of here.
No, seriously. Tried. He turned the ball over once. He had a really bad 2-minute sequence, and Fred said, okay, no more. And that was it. I mean, also, too, I feel bad for the kid because he's from Houston, and apparently, like, a lot of his family was there and never got a second. But it's just one of those things where Frager was awesome. Price was awesome. You got the exact performances that you needed out of those 2 guys. And then everybody else kind of disappeared a little bit. Rink hit 4 shots to start the game and honestly became a detriment in terms of how often he went 0 of 7 from 3. I brought this up with Schaefer yesterday on our interview with him, and we'll have Josh Peterson, the other part of that duo, the other part of that tandem on at 12:20. But
shout out Oscar's Pizza.
I said to Schaefer, I go, I think Sam's really important in this game because he's the point guard that's going to have to get the ball to Frager, and he's the guy who's going to have to get the ball to Price, and that's a very big responsibility to have. But, very sneakily, very, very quietly, Sam had some weird turnovers heading into this tournament and into this game. He had some weird turnovers against Vandy, had some weird turnovers against Purdue. He had some bad turnovers the second time that they played Iowa. And yesterday he turned the ball over 5 times. And that's just, it's not a recipe for success. He didn't have his best game. Rink didn't have his best game. J-Law, to be honest with you, he hit that. I think he hit 1. I think he hit 2 threes very early on in the game, and then he not that he played terrible, but he kind of disappeared in a way. Like he just wasn't fully there. Wasn't the peak guy that we typically see. And then Berke. He's out there grabbing all these boards, and he had 10 rebounds, and he had some blocks, and he had this fiery start to the game, and then he shot 4 threes, and he missed them all. Like, that's not your game, my man. Like, you just don't do that. We did not think very highly of Berke because, we didn't think very highly of Berke after last season because he shot so many threes, and it was a really bad sight to see. And the offense was incredibly inefficient when he did that. And to see him revert back to that yesterday was very frustrating.
The team became there was a bit of chucking going on towards the end of that game.
They shot 38 threes.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
They shot 38 3-pointers. I was screaming at DJs, and people were making faces at me because I was going, touch the paint, touch the paint. Touch it. Just get to the paint, please.
Out of context, yeah, that's a weird thing to hear a guy at the bar yelling.
I know, but the people who knew basketball,
sure. Ball knowers know.
Yeah, I was like, just get it. I'm not even telling you to force a layup. I'm just telling you to touch it. Like, work it out, inside out. Yeah, somebody, and I feel like at times, and you can agree to disagree, but I feel like at times I got a little complacent with some of the shots they were taking, and then the game really flipped with about 10 minutes to go when it got really slow. And a game that was the over-under. So the over-under for this game was 132.5 points. Obviously, it hit. But these two teams scored 89 points in the first half. Okay? They scored 89 points in the first half. They scored 59 points in the second half. There were 30 less combined points in half two and half one. Why did that happen? Well, the game turned into a slog. The game got really slow. And when the game gets really slow, who does that favor?
Iowa.
Favors Iowa. It's exactly how they want to play this game.
Somebody at halftime texted me, and I forget who, and they were like, "Do you think they can hang on? You think they can do it?" And I said, "Well, the pace is
perfect.
Nebraska.
This is perfect.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what were they doing? What were they doing on that final play in the first half? What was that? They let them they came out of a timeout. They let them take the ball up. They let them get no pressure on the ball all the way up to half court. They're in a zone. Braden is so lazy on the wing. It was such a lazy play. And bounce passed over, hits the three, and you cut the lead from 6-3. And you know, in a 6-point game, that means something. But it also kind of it killed a little bit of the momentum heading into the next half. Now, I actually felt better going into the second half against Iowa than I did against Vanderbilt. Because heading into the second half against Vanderbilt, Nebraska shot like 60% in the first half. Nebraska was shooting the basketball really, really well. And you're like, they can't sustain this. And heading into the second half against Iowa was shooting the ball so well. I think they were 60% from the field, and they were down 3. And I'm like, all right, at some point this is going to come level. You know, things are going to even out. And Nebraska will probably end up being up like maybe 5 or 6 with 4 minutes to go. That's probably what the forecast was at that point. If things were to level out, here's the problem. Nebraska shot 58% in the first half. They dipped way more than Iowa. Things leveled out for Iowa. Things leveled out way worse for Nebraska in the second half. So, you know, I think the story of this game is a couple of things. It was a miscue at the end of the first half on that three-pointer that they let in. There was a miscue out of a timeout. Obviously, when you have 4 guys on the court, cannot allow that to happen, right? That's 6 points on failed execution out of timeouts, which directly falls on the head coach. Fred is the coach of the year. He's had an incredible job. We got to point out his mistakes. 2 out of timeout miscues, 6 points. You had 2 incredible performances from Frager and Sanford, and you could not find that third guy to really step up. And then at the end of the game, you needed who was the dude, who was the guy, who was going to close this thing out, who was going to take their team to victory, who was going to put their team over the top. Iowa had that guy. Nebraska didn't. That's the story of the game. Story of the game. Played a team that knew your defense really, really well. Played a team that understood the weaknesses of your defense probably better than any other team in the country. And we're going to hit a break right here, but Iowa won, man. Iowa just played better. Iowa just hit the shots. Iowa just executed at the end of the first half. Iowa executed at the end of the second half. And that's what it came down to. Plain and simple. Coming up next, we're going to have somebody who always tells us how it is. It's Brian Christopherson of 24/7 coming up on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We bring in probably one of the smartest people right now in the nation. And here's why. Because this man said, screw TSA. He said, screw
A lot of people saying that right now.
Airport security. He said, I'm not going to deal with this headache. I'm not going to deal with the expensive flights. I'm not going to. No. I'm going to drive. Okay. And that's what Brian Christopherson did. He drove the 13 hours to Houston. He is now on his way back. BC from 247 Sports. How are you?
I'm fine. I don't know if it was smarter. I haven't heard how other people are doing with it. That was part of it. I saved some money. I was like, you kind of have more control when you're in your rental. Like if they get beat like they did, they just head right back. So anyway, there's some people though that are flying in our bubble that cover Husker athletics that will be home by, I'm sure, like 3 p.m. this afternoon. Well, I'll be like still 8 hours away.
When did you leave? When did you get in the car to Houston?
I left at 8
a.m.
but I haven't gone very far.
Okay.
Because I've been working on some stuff. I'm still like not even to Dallas. So and the good thing is I'm kind of a JFK conspiracy nut, not like nut, but I'm like interested in it. And I already spent my time over by the grassy knoll on my way up.
Yeah. Did you look around and you're like, I can see it. I could see how some hubbubaloo went down over here. I could see it. Did you feel that?
I was behind the picket fence. I saw the angle of it.
Yeah?
I don't want to make light of it.
Yeah.
It happened, but I'm
going to be real with you. I'm going to be real with you, BC. I'm going to be real with you.
Want my take on it?
I'm a JFK conspiracy nut too. It's one of the very few conspiracies I actually believe. I love this. Yes. What's your take? How do you think it went down?
I think I don't want to get all into it because
no, you can say it. You can say it, BC. The Zapruder film. I don't know, man. We've all seen it. I don't know if that bullet was that magic. I'm just going to be real. I'll say it for you. Never heard of a magic bullet after that.
I think there were maybe three shooters involved at least. Yes.
I love this.
But and I think one of them might have come from where I was standing the other day. I'm just one of those people who likes being where. I think a lot of people are like this. Don't you like standing where something at one moment was the biggest thing in the world happened, and you're like, wow, this I'm on the ground. I'm on the patch of land where this thing went down. Usually, unfortunately, it's tragedy that you're involved with that, but there is sort of that allure to it, I guess, for whatever reason. It gets me.
I love the idea. There are moms and dads and little kids running around that area in Dallas, and they're just kind of viewing history. And Brian Christopherson looks like Matthew McConaughey in True Detective with the cigarette out, walking through the picket fence and just looking around being like, okay, shooter number 1 was here. Where was shooter number 2? Shooter 3 had to be right here. I'm standing right where shooter 3 is. Is that how it felt? Did you feel like you were a detective on the case?
They give tours to people like, and somebody was ripping off some tourists for like $40 for their tour, and I was like 5 feet away from him behind the picket fence, and I was thinking as the guy was talking, I was like, I've watched enough videos. I can tell you exactly what this guy's saying for free.
Yeah,
if you want it.
Yeah,
But anyway.
Did you go back there and you're like, here used to be there was a yellow bottle that only a potential shooter would have known was right here, and they went back and they found that yellow bottle. Did you tell them that? Did you tell them that little piece of information?
I didn't interrupt what they're doing. I didn't say, what about the guy in the umbrella whose umbrella popped up? And then
no one talks about the guy in the umbrella, BC. Thank you. There's not enough people know about this. This is, I can't believe, anyway. BC, I've known you for 3 years. I can't believe we just found out that we are JFK conspiracy theorists. This is awesome. Our friendship has just gone to a new level. Do you know who also went to a new level? Nebraska basketball on this run into the Sweet 16. Talk about this season from your eyes, from your perspective, a longtime beat writer following this magical year for Nebraska basketball.
Last night was tough because it was one of those where two things collide together. And it's hard because it was a brilliant season. It was the best Husker basketball season ever. And all the applause is worthy for that group for doing what they did. And the ride that I was privileged to be on it. Like, I enjoyed just, we have not, who cover Husker athletics, have not got to experience like March Madness basketball like that. And the nerves and the tenacity that goes with it up close. And so that was special to be involved with that. And then there's that other side of it, and I know the guys felt it. I mean, it was red eyes at every locker room stall after that game. One, it's you just lost in the Sweet 16, a game you think you could have had. Now, of course, the Iowa factor is like a little twist of the knife too. And also, you know what, Matt, you can be really good. Like, Nebraska basketball could consistently be really good under Fred Hoiberg, like for the next 5 years, and keep putting themselves in positions. But the brackets don't always work out in a line just how you need them to. Like that opportunity where you can see it, you can see the the lane to do something magical, and it was there. I mean, it was there. You win that game, and then I'm writing my story, and I'm watching Illinois. And I'm not saying I would have picked or favored Nebraska over Illinois. I would not have. I'm just saying you would have been up against a team that you did beat once, and you're familiar with. And we know that whatever the TSA troubles are, Husker Nation they were already out in full force in Houston, but they would have taken that thing over to try to get that team to the Final Four. So there's that part of you that you're just like doing a lot of what ifs this morning.
It's such a great insight from you in terms of the lane, because we can even see it currently in this tournament, right? Look at Purdue. Look at the lane they got, right? You go ahead and you play Queens. They were like third in their conference in terms of regular season. They win the conference, go to the tournament. They kill them. Then you play, either injured. You either play a Miami team or a Missouri team. Both of them, I don't think, were very threatening to make deep runs from the 7 seed or the 10 seed. Then what happens? You get to the Sweet 16, and you play an 11 seed, right, in Texas, and now you're in the Elite 8, and you go ahead and you look at a team like Arkansas, who's on fire, won the SEC tournament. They look great, but their lane included playing an Arizona team that does all of the things well that can take advantage of Arkansas's inefficiency. So it's a great point from you. They had it. They had the lane. They really did. And they were going to play a 9 seed, a team that they already beat, and then potentially play a 3 seed, which you're right. It would have been home court advantage in Illinois. I mean, how will we remember this season? Will we remember it more for the magical moments, in your opinion, or will we remember it more for the end?
For the magical moments. It'll take a little time.
I agree.
Especially because it was Iowa. I don't know if this is the best comparison. It was what came to my mind when I was writing last night. It's like I don't know if you ever got stitches when you're a little kid, like something happened. You get, like, I have a little where I fell and hit myself on a nightstand when I was 5 years old. And you always remember how and where, that there will be like the stitches, like from this loss that always stick. Like that's that way with Husker football when it was great. As good as Nebraska was, people like to talk about, and almost at a certain point it became nostalgia to reminisce about the ones that got away. And that there will be that part of the story that always comes up. But I think mostly it's at those reunions and when this team's honored at halftimes 20, 30 years from now, and Fred Hoiberg even mentioned the post game, it'll rightly be thought of as the first team that broke the door down, won in the NCAA tournament, made the Sweet 16. And along the way, I've never seen anything like OKC as far as a regional NCAA setting where a fan base just owned the whole arena like that for those 2 games. And so there's a lot of special parts that I think as a little time goes on, people will recollect on. And that Braden Frager layup against Vandy and the shot that rimmed out from 55 feet. I mean, all that stuff I think will eventually rise to the surface as like those main moments for a team that won 28 games. And, the week I think is amazing to look back on is when they drilled Wisconsin by 30, beat Creighton before that, they beat Creighton by 22, and then they went at Illinois on the road to Illinois and won, on a last second shot. So there's a lot of stuff that I think as the years go on will be thought of first and foremost before the ending.
Brian Christopherson, so well put. So, man, you did an incredible job this season covering this team, writing about this team, coming on the show, talking about this team. It's funny. Typically, when basketball season is over, people go, all right, football season, let's go. And it's funny to see that they're definitely, I don't think there's any sort of reaction to that at all. There's a lot more sadness and a lot more mourning. And I think that's a very positive thing. It's a positive thing that people care so much about Nebraska basketball, and Nebraska basketball made it to the point where, it's sad. It's sad that the basketball season's over, but you did such a great job covering it. So thank you so much. And thank you for coming on the show.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Matt.
I think I might have to do a JFK conspiracy theory podcast with Brian Christopherson.
Okay. I don't want to offend when I say this.
Yeah.
That section of the conversation between you two, was the most interesting section of the conversation.
They did it. I'm just going to say it. They did it.
The government.
They killed him. I don't know who they is, but they killed him.
Okay.
All right. I'm just saying. This
wasn't a guy who was like, I really hate that guy. Bleep that guy sleeping with Marilyn Monroe. I'm jealous of him. I want that.
It was not Lee. All right. They did it. I believe in this conspiracy theory completely. Okay. My father played the clips, played the videos. We would watch the documentaries together. It was actually a bonding moment between my father and I watching the JFK conspiracy theory documentaries.
There's so much I love about this because months ago you admitted to not knowing who JFK Jr. is, but you love JFK.
I love
conspiracy
JFK.
theories.
JFK conspiracy theories are the best conspiracy theories out there, in my opinion, because it's just like it happened. It was so famous when it occurred. There was so much video about it. But then the Zapruder film. Oh my God.
Have you seen the Oliver Stone movie, JFK?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't seen that one. But it's like, and then they did a documentary about the guy who he was like, I killed him. He was like, I shot him from here behind this fence, facing him this way. And then there was another documentary about his brain, about how they dissected his brain, and the fact that it was very secretive how they did it, and they kept it under wraps. And
What'd they find?
Well,
did they find that it was any different than any other than the obvious?
Well, here's the thing. They brought in a specialist, and the specialist said this: where the bullet enters and where the bullet exits, right? Where the bullet enters, it's small, and where it exits, it's big.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at the wounds, the entrance was small in the front and big in the back. How can that happen? How can the entrance be small in the front and big in the back if you're telling me he got shot from the back? If he got shot from the back, it'd be small in the back and big in the front. He got shot from the front. This is what this guy was saying. And we saw the pictures of JFK, and we saw the pictures of the bullet holes, and the bullet holes were small and big in the wrong sides.
Got a question here from the guys on Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Anything about a drunk security guard?
I don't know about that one. Okay. Now,
that's Josh's working theory in the afternoons.
The one about the umbrella. Brian brings up the umbrella man.
You both said this, and I didn't know anything about what you were talking about, but I was engrossed, I tell you.
The umbrella man is this guy, all right? It's Louis Stephen Witt, all right? And Louis, he was basically, he had an umbrella. He had a black umbrella to oppose JFK's father, Joseph Kennedy, okay? And so he's standing there, but it wasn't raining. Why does this guy have a black umbrella, right? When it's not raining in Dallas? The theory is that when he put up, like when he was waving the black umbrella at JFK's car, that was the signal to shoot him. So
makes sense.
Louis Witt was there, and he didn't like the Kennedys, and he's the one who signaled, all right, fire.
Go. It's go time.
And then he got killed. And then they had the Select Committee of Assassinations was created in 1979, and what they did conclude is that Lee Harvey Oswald did kill John F. Kennedy, but they did admit that the FBI's investigation was very, very flawed when they investigated everything. And Louis Witt was brought in front of the people, like of the assassinations committee, and basically said if there was a world record of like being in the wrong spot, I would be there.
I'll let Charles have the last word on this before we go to break. Most of your listenership is small in the front and big in the back.
That's how I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a hockey butt. I'm that way too. I'm that way too. Coming up next, if we can't get odder enough, we are going to try the news, the odd news with Josh Hudson coming up next.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
I feel like I've treated the odd news like a long Oscar speech. It's just like I haven't given you enough time recently, and I apologize for that. We have 5 minutes here. Let's do it right. Give me the odd news, Josh.
All right. We'll start with the most timely of the three stories. I think it probably the only one we're going to get to, which is fine.
That's okay.
Opening day yesterday for most of Major League Baseball at Citi Field in New York. That's where the Mets play baseball.
Oh, okay, cool. Didn't know that.
They did this thing where everyone stands, they remove their hats, and they sing our nation's anthem.
Yes,
often referred to as our national anthem.
Yes. Oh, say, can you see?
Yeah. After opening night on Netflix, baseball opened up at Citi Field between the Mets and the Pirates.
Cool.
It was on national TV on NBC. They were like, hey, this is opening day. It's our first game on NBC. Let's play the anthem. And then instead of saying, "O'er the ramparts we watched," the anthem singer repeated the line, "What so proudly we hailed,"
twice
before "we're so gallantly streaming." So he kind of transfixed a couple of the lines there. Christopher Jackson, a Tony Award nominated artist.
Oh, Chris Jackson was George Washington in Hamilton, and he was also Benny in the Heights.
Wow, I love that you know that.
Yeah, Chris Jackson's a stud.
He's also worked on Sesame Street. He has a Daytime Emmy Award.
Dude, Chris Jackson's the truth.
Look at that. It says he played George Washington in Hamilton in the next paragraph.
Yeah, no, he's a stud. I mean, he's one of the best, honestly, Broadway voices of the last 2 decades, really. In the Heights came out in 2006. He messed it up.
He did.
He played George Washington. How do you mess up the national anthem?
Didn't affect the team as the Mets won 11-7.
I bet he belted it, though. Chris Jackson is an awesome singer. Dude's got some pipes. He can rap, too. He's impressive.
Well, Hamilton, you have to do both.
I know.
People forget.
People do forget that there's rapping in Hamilton. All right, second story.
Second story, as our colleagues Josh and Mike wait in the TSA line in Houston, a different airport, this one in Philadelphia, has decided, you know what? We're going to make a long line of our own. This is a long line of cheesesteaks.
Whoa, okay.
They are trying to set the Guinness World Record for longest line of cheesesteaks, which I can't imagine is an actual Guinness World Record.
Yeah, we won't be bringing them on. Wednesday.
Travelers passing through Philadelphia International Airport Tuesday may have had to wait in long security lines, but there was also a long line of cheesesteaks. 1,291 cheesesteaks lined up.
What?
Inside a departure hall, whatever that is, to mark National Cheesesteak Day. This surpassed the previous record of 500 sandwiches. So they more than doubled the record, which tip of the cap to you for not just breaking the record, obliterating it. What's his name used to pull up at the 100 meters.
Usain Bolt, so he could keep breaking it?
Keep breaking, because he had a contract. Like, every time you break it, you get money from Puma, I think it was.
I think didn't Xfinity do that too?
Maybe.
I think it was Xfinity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, great poll there with the Usain Bolt not wanting to break the record too much every time. This is our last news story of the day. If I were to break a Guinness World Record, I would break it by 1. I would break it by the minimal amount.
Too.
By the minimal amount.
Because somebody's going to go, "Oh, Josh broke it. Okay, I'm going to snatch it back." And then I'll go, "Oh, I'll snatch it back from you."
See, but they got to know the gimmick. They got to understand that I can't break it too far either. Hey, records are made to be broken. Don't be selfish.
You and your rival need to go in business with each other.
People don't get that. You have to play the game. When you're doing individual rivalries, there has to be an understanding, right? There's got to be a one-to-one communication here if we're doing this for ourselves, all right? You can't go into business for yourself. If you go into business for yourself, you're going to create some problems. Is that a Matt McMaster quote or a Michael Hayes quote?
Why not both?
Why not both? Michael Hayes, Matt McMaster. Coming up next, we continue to talk about Nebraska basketball's defeat to Iowa, along with some other games that happened yesterday, and we'll preview a couple of games that will happen tomorrow. All that and more here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, don't forget, we're running a fun little competition about golf on 1620 The Zone. We're calling it McMaster's Matchup, where you can win $250 if you are randomly selected and then paired with a golfer who wins a very important tournament in the middle of April. This tournament is held in the South. Tournament held in Georgia, actually. So if you go ahead, 1620thezone.com. Enter in, register to be potentially randomly selected as one of the 20 entrants who will then be paired up with a golfer. And if your golfer wins, you win $250, baby. So, Josh, you need to do the tweet.
I need to do the tweet.
You need to do your tweet. What is one of your tweeting bits where you make fun of all the Nebraska media who is all tweeting the
we all
same
doing
thing?
the same thing?
Everyone's tweeting about their experience at the Houston airport. Everybody's tweeting about it. Everybody's posting the videos about it. I need the tweet. You need to be honest. You need to stick with it.
Okay.
You don't all need to talk about the Houston airport. It's long. We get it, guys. That's how you sound.
No, I agree. That's how I sound. I don't know. Does the public feel that this is warranted?
There's a lot. There's a lot. Schaefer tweeted about it.
Okay.
Peterson tweeted about it. Andy Kendi has tweeted about it.
Okay, that's 3.
That's 3. I'm scrolling down. I don't believe one of the Husker Online guys has said anything.
You know, why don't you take a couple minutes and maybe get a mass in real quick before you go to the airport?
I went to the dentist. He was wearing a Husker jersey. He had his Pikowski jersey on. He was wearing a Strickland when he was giving me a crown. But
crown. See what he did there?
Yeah. Breen me. Can I get breen? I haven't gotten breened in a while.
Yeah, that's a better name for it.
Yeah, people were. But I was. We went right to banging me. But then
just hit the ear wrong.
Well, breening doesn't hit the ear right either.
Yeah, but I think you would agree it's significantly better.
I would agree.
Okay.
Also, too, what a great show that we've had so far. I've watched the Zapruder film today. We've got our text line. The boys at Sportsmanlike are going to be really confused when they look at the text line. It's all JFK.
We'll probably enjoy it.
KG texted in the documentary with Parkland Hospital doctors where JFK went first, claims the shot came from the front. That's the documentary I watched. It's a great one.
Okay.
It's a great one.
Maybe I'll put it on what to watch this weekend.
Just watch. Why not? It's not significant or anything. Just watch JFK conspiracy documentaries. They are fun. It's fun. It's a good time. Dude, it's a good time too. The NCAA tournament. It happened yesterday. Nebraska basketball, was defeated by Iowa. I think the easiest and most straight line way to describe how the game went is this. Nebraska basketball led for a lot of the game with 6 minutes to go. They were up 3 points. They did not score for 5 minutes. And the Iowa Hawkeyes took advantage of that. In particularly, Bennett Sturts, their future first-round draft pick, started playing basketball in his college career at Northwest Missouri State, of all places, to now being a future draft pick and leading the Iowa Hawkeyes to an Elite Eight victory. Key points of the game were definitely Price Sanford and Braden Frager playing awesome, but not getting a ton of help from one of your third guys, whether it be Jamarcus Lawrence, Sam Hoiberg, Rink Masterberg, Buchtengel. Additionally, 6 points scored by Iowa, frankly, just off of miscues coming out of timeouts. The first being at the end of the first half, where Iowa was just allowed freely to dribble the ball up to the half-court line. A good bounce pass got by Braden Frager. 3-point was hit, cut the lead heading into the second half from 6 down to 3. And then obviously the inbound with 58 seconds left down 3. You want to cause a turnover, maybe a quick foul, or at that point you could have just let them have an offensive possession, get a stop, and then give yourself an opportunity to hit a 3 at the end of the game to tie and send the game into overtime, just like it went into overtime in game 2. Unfortunately, Nebraska did not have as many players out there as they were allowed to have. In basketball, you're allowed to have 5 people on the court at once.
Five is the number. Okay.
5 is the number. They had 4. They were forced to foul. Bulgaris.
Now, if it had worked and they only had 4 people,
it would have been genius.
That's
oh
a
my
flex.
God.
That's a flex,
Whoa.
right? Like,
what does Fred know that we don't? Has he innovated basketball? Has he changed the game? But instead, that did not happen. Iowa got a quick bucket and an and one, and that kind of ended that. They were up 6, and that was the game. So, yep, a magical season comes to the end against your rival. Brian Christopherson added more salt to the wound where he goes, for people who aren't familiar with the NCAA tournament, you don't often get the best lane to make it to the Final Four. Nebraska was given that lane.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska did not take advantage of that lane, unfortunately for them. Iowa playing really good basketball. Look, they didn't beat Florida by a fluke, okay? I mean, they beat a very, very good Florida team, and funny enough, they out-Florida'd Florida, if that makes any sense. Rebounded.
They brought
them.
a gator out onto the court.
No, they didn't.
This is going to be one of our 5.
Okay, the big buff Florida guy put on a Nebraska jersey.
Many are saying it's his fault.
I fully blame him.
Not Matt Rule's fault. Not Fred Hoiberg's fault. Not Rink Mast's fault.
It's not my story to tell.
The giant. I'm just going to assume that man eats raw meat.
What?
Guy.
That would be. See, I got to stop giving you these ideas because it kind of ruins it. But that would be the pinnacle of Wacky Guess Wednesday. Buff Florida dude. My first question would be, what is your grocery list look like? What's
that bill every week?
Yes. What do you buy, and what does the bill look like? It's got to be all 97.3 ground beef, right? And probably and probably some TRT.
That guy only speaks in macros.
He only speaks in grams.
Uh-huh.
What language do you speak? Protein. How many carbs is in it? I only get, is it a healthy fat or a non-healthy fat? I don't do saturated. I don't speak in saturation.
People hate talking to him because he just speaks in workout
If you were him, I mean, how big he is and how much he works out is who he is. Like, that's his personality, right?
Sure.
You don't get to that point without being hyperly obsessed of looking that.
And
way.
I mean, another natural question that would come up if we had him on, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you work like?
Because if that's not part of your job, like you're just like an accountant or a lawyer or something.
You know what? You know where he's going to be working in the future? Barstool. That is such a Barstool hire.
They're going to bring him in for a week to get the gang in shape.
Yeah. Let's bring in, that's a perfect Barstool hire. Hey, let's bring in the Florida meathead. Let's sign him up and put him on a pod. That's
I can't even find this guy's real name.
Oh, you'll find it. Come on. You got it. You're looking on Google? No, go to Twitter. You look this thing up on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, they'll just dox him there.
Yeah, he's already been doxed.
He's known as Larry or online as Big Lair.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Big Lair 85 on Instagram. Oh,
if he had
85er.
If he had a good friend group, they would call him Smalls, or they would call him Tiny. They call him something like that. Other good games happened yesterday outside of the Florida guy in Iowa, Nebraska. If you were listening to the show yesterday, we told you so. Arizona killed Arkansas.
See, you got to say that you were right.
I was right. I told you exactly how that game would go.
Yep.
Should I have thought about that before I picked Arkansas to be in the Final Four?
Probably.
Yes. Was this a case of doing my homework too late? Absolutely.
We've all been there.
Did I make money off of it? Absolutely.
Okay, good.
So there you go. Arizona, they look great. I mean, it's one of those teams where Purdue, Arizona is gonna be a good game. I trust that it's going to be a good game. I do not think that Arizona is going to beat Purdue by 21. Purdue definitely has the resources to go and compete against Zona more so than Arkansas had. Trey Kaufman-Renn, what a buzzer beater yet, or 0.7 seconds left, playing some of his best basketball. Oscar Clough has been phenomenal about the last 7-8 games for Purdue. I'll tell you this. We walked in, and often we talk about the Big Ten tournament as like, does it really matter all that much? you really need to win it. Like, you'd rather win the Big Ten regular season title. That's more of that's more of an indication of how much of an elite team that you are. Do the tournaments even matter when it comes to seeding? Well, here's the thing. Winning the Big Ten tournament is the best thing that happened to Purdue this season, bar none, because it did matter. It did affect seeding. They did win 4 games in 4 days and beat elite teams on the way of doing that. They beat Nebraska. They beat Michigan. So it mattered greatly in terms of them. I think they entered the week, on the 3 near the 4 line, catapulted them to the 2 seed, and then they were given such an easy path. I mean, it was laid out all in front of them. They played a Queens team that wasn't this high point type team. They were good. They won their tournament, but they weren't a threat. They then played a Miami team who, beat a lot of the middling teams in the ACC, but wasn't able to conquer the elite teams of the ACC. Then they ended up playing a Texas team, which, by the way, it's funny. There were 2 higher seeds that entered the Sweet 16, and I think that there was a thought of like, okay, do they come back down to earth? Like, do they kind of, does the time off kind of cool them down a little bit?
That's generally how the tournament works.
Yeah.
The high seed, I guess you'd call them, works their way through the first weekend, and then like, okay, these are the real basketball teams now. It's time for you to go home.
Exactly. And that didn't happen to either of them. They both played great basketball.
Because they're both like, major programs with experience playing these types of teams.
And,
right?
and also, too, I think that there's a flip, Josh, between we're just happy to be here and this is actually how we should be playing, right? When you get the 13, 14, 15 seeds, when you get the FDUs, when you get the Florida Gulf Coast, there's a part of them that's like, all right, hey, man, like, we get more merch, we get more gear, we're on national television. God, Lauren Shahadi's interviewing me. This is insane.
There's
right?
there's an exhale from the, like, if High Point made the Sweet 16, there'd be an exhale, right?
You're happy for the journey. But if you're like Iowa or Texas, you're like, yeah, man, this BS that we are an 11 seed. It's BS we are a 9 seed. We should have been playing like this in January. We would be a 4 seed if we were playing this way. That's how they felt, and that's how they competed. And I just think at the end of the day, the talent won out, experience won out. Trey Kaufman-Renn, Fletcher Lawyer, and Braden Smith have been in so many big games. That's the underrated part about Purdue. That like that group of seniors have just experienced it all. Like they have made it to the national championship, and they have lost in the very first round as a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They have played so many big teams and so many big games, and it just kind of experience went out yesterday. It was I don't know, another day in the office, I guess, for Braden Smith at that final kind of gasp. And then Trey Kaufman-Renn, TKR, does a great job of boxing out, tips it in. Purdue on their way to play Arizona. See what that opening line is. It's my apologies for not looking at this. It's very, very non-gambler of me to not immediately
just would have
look at
assumed
the
you were
line.
locked in. I'm sorry.
Wow, am I slacking? Am I losing it?
Maybe you're just focused on the ball and not the gambling.
I'm I don't know. When you lose a lot, you kind of focus on the ball and not so much on the gambling.
A couple more dogs of the day to hit.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Or some futures. I do have that Illinois to win the national championship future, which would pay out very pretty. But my Arkansas to make the Final Four did not pay out. Arizona, a 6.5 point favorite against Purdue. Game 1. That'll be a very interesting game. I still, Arizona, I think we talked a ton about Michigan. We've talked a ton about Duke. And we've given a lot of attention. I think we gave a lot of attention to Houston and Florida, more so than we've given to this Arizona team. And they are the real deal. They proved it yesterday. Got a couple of games tonight that'll be pretty interesting. Duke St. John's. I think a lot of people are going to freak out about, St. John's and their physicality and St. John's and their defense. And, can they put pressure on Caden Boozer? And, can Duke, they have a lack of ball handling. Is St. John's going to expose that? I think that the one thing that is being missed here, and I don't know how many people know this. I mean, maybe you know this, Josh. Do you know who the number 1 rated defensive team in KenPom is?
Defensive team?
Yeah.
Michigan?
It's
I don't
Duke.
know. Okay.
Duke is the number one defensive team according to KenPom.
Them Boozer boys.
They are, I mean, they're just big, they're physical, they play really good perimeter defense, they stop transition. Look, this St. John's team, yeah, like they're big in terms of their physicality, like they're very tough, but they're not vertically like they're not 7-footers or anything like that. And Bryce Hopkins in the win against Kansas made like 6 threes. I just don't think you're going to trust that's going to happen. I think Duke is just, I think they're going to feel the pressure of St. John's, and I am worried about how their offense is going to run. But at the same time, I don't know how St. John's is going to score. Like if it's all on Zuby, I kind of trust the matchup between Boozer and Zuby. Like I trust Cam is going to play some really good defense, and I don't think they have enough in the backcourt to break through this very elite Duke defense. So give me the Duke Blue Devils in this one. I think this might be a sexy little upset pick, and I think there are a lot of people who would love for Pitino and St. John's for this incredible run the last 2 seasons can continue, and it would definitely apex at beating Duke in the Sweet 16, but I just don't see how St. John's is going to score enough points against Duke. I just don't see it. Michigan, Alabama, this is a quick, fast-paced offense from Alabama. Can they handle, like, this whole Charles Bediako thing? I'm not going to talk about, like, the lawsuits or anything like that, but I think people forget, like, why this happened. Like, why was this occurring with Nate Oates in Alabama? Well, it's because they were really lacking in the front court, suffered injuries, and they just weren't really good in the front court and didn't have enough size to really compete at a high level in the SEC, so they did what they did to get Bediako some extra eligibility to help them out. Michigan's going to expose that. Like Michigan is going to expose their front court. Michigan is going to expose the lack of size down low. Marez Johnson, Ade Mara. I honestly thought Mara was one of the best players of the Big Ten tournament when I was there. Still playing some really elite basketball, really good against St. Louis. I think Alabama's got a puncher's chance from the 3-point line. I do think that there is a world where they make Michigan play their game and they push the pace, and Michigan kind of falls into a trap and they get into this track race, and where that would help Alabama more out than Michigan. And I do think that there is a universe in where Alabama just shoots the hell out of the 3 ball. They make a ton of shots and they end up upsetting Michigan. I think that's unlikely to happen, but I think it's there. I just think at the end of the day, it's the size of Michigan is just going to wear down Alabama, and they're going to be incredibly efficient from the offensive side of the ball. And Alabama's going to have to make a lot of shots to beat Michigan. The thing is, though, Alabama's got the number 1 offense in the country. They score 90 points per game. So this is a classic styles make fights matchup. We'll see how good Michigan can be in limiting some transition play. But I think at the same time, if Michigan puts a lot of pressure on the basket with Lendenborg and Johnson and Mara, and they are just making a lot of twos, and they're incredibly efficient, it's going to put a ton of pressure on the Crimson Tide. And I don't know if they're going to be able to handle that, especially without having Aiden Holloway. Going to be a lot of LeBaron Filan for the Alabama Crimson Tide when they play the Michigan Wolverines. All righty, we'll talk about some more games that are going to be happening this week. We still got to talk about UConn versus Michigan State. We'll also talk a little bit more about Nebraska losing to Iowa, what that means for the future of Nebraska basketball. What does it mean for the future of Iowa basketball? Has Iowa found the Kurt Cignetti of basketball? That's an honest question that we can ask ourselves. But before we get there, we're going to get an update from the TSA line in Houston. Josh Peterson joining us here on Middays with Matt, live from what's that airport called? I don't even know what the airport's called.
I don't know.
Is it like the George?
Is that Bush?
Is it Bush? George Bush Airport?
Everyone laughing at us right now.
I know. I have no idea.
George Bush Intercontinental Airport is in Houston.
Proper name. Nice way to use the governmental name there. Live from the George Bush International Airport.
Intercontinental.
Sorry, my apologies. We'll listen to Josh Peterson here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays, Matt, here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network, bringing in one of our favorites, our coworker, our colleague, our friend, and your friend Josh Hodson, the self-proclaimed radio father of Matt McMaster. We bring in Josh Peterson from Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Content that's unsportsmanlike. Unsportsmanlike content. How are you?
I am good. I made it through TSA in 39 minutes, but who's counting?
Whoa!
Yeah, about 3 hours less than it seems like it's going to take Lauren Michelson and Andy Kindy of KETV News Watch 7 today. We got very lucky because apparently United has its own terminal here at the Bush Airport. And so Schaefer and I just sat down and I gave him my food order at a Tex-Mex bar and grill.
Nice.
And so he will be ordering that for me momentarily as I'm standing out in the, what's it called? A hallway? I don't know what it's called. An area. I'm talking to you here. Hello.
Hi. Are you you got to lay your eyes on the gate guy? Like you got to go to your gate to make sure it exists and then you are free to walk about the airport? Is that how you operate?
Excellent question. The answer is no, especially because our flight isn't boarding for another 3.5 hours.
Wow.
Again, we thought we would be in line for about 3 hours, and obviously that didn't happen. So my first play was actually going to be to go to the United Club because I have a couple of passes.
Yeah,
But
go.
Get this, Matt. We are here too early. The nice lady said, sorry, you can't board until your flight is, or you can't come in here until your flight is 3 hours away. So we have to kill another hour and a half before we can even go into the United Club.
Dude, I'm a sucker for the United Club. I actually got I got the United Explorers credit card so I can get United Club passes.
That's how I have the passes.
Yeah.
So Schaefer is paying me back for one of the United Club entrances with a beer. And so that beer is probably at my table right now getting nice and warm.
Well, here's the thing about Schaefer. He's got to understand, though, at the club that if you order off of the right menu items, that you don't have to pay for anything. You keep it within the complimentary stuff. They just keep feeding you
remember,
drinks.
Matt, we can't be there until 1:45, and it's lunchtime now. So
It is
buying me the beer now.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to be economical here.
Look, we have plenty of time. I mean, we're not going to be in there until 1:45, and then we will take advantage of all of the great complimentary.
Have you gotten your run in today? I think you should just run at the airport. I think you should just get your Hokas on. You should get your shorts on. You should go for like a 4-mile run.
Matt, it's funny you mentioned that. We were literally just discussing one of Schaefer's dearest, oldest friends, a guy named John Keeler, who I had on my old running podcast. And he was like, hey, did John on the pod ever tell you about how he used to run at the airport to continue his run streak?
Yeah.
And sure enough, he would go for at least a mile run every day. I think he did it for like 8 or 9 years. And so, yeah, there were a lot of airport runs in his life. There will not be one today. I am exhausted.
Okay.
I will not run today. I am back on the train tomorrow. If there is a silver lining of Nebraska's season ending, it is that I will get back into my regularly scheduled running, and I'll also get to go to sleep again, which I'm very excited about those things too.
All right, we'll talk about the game, but you are
fun.
You are Mr. Football, okay?
Oh, yeah.
In the past, when the basketball season ends, I feel like a guy like you is like, all right, football, let's go. Let's talk spring ball. Let's talk about Bo Pelini. Let's talk about Mike Riley. Is Frost going to really turn it around this year? You're ready and revving to go. Do you feel that way at all? I don't think you do.
No, definitely not. I mean, it's weird. Part of it is that the spring game is tomorrow. I wish that it was like in 3 weeks. I wish that we had like a little ramp up for 3 weeks where we could be like, okay, storylines, let's get caught up on the storylines. You got Calandria. You got all the new players on defense, especially. You got a new coordinator on defense. You got a new coordinator on special teams. The fact that it's going to be tomorrow and the basketball season will have been over for not even 48 hours is like, okay, so you just kind of smash everything together, and that kind of stinks. So no, I'm not. I'm really not. It's not even that I'm not ready to turn the page. It's that I don't feel like I can turn the page to spring ball in the way that I normally would because it's done. It's going to be done tomorrow, and then there's 5 months until the game. This is going to be a very unique ramp up to the football season because I feel like we are gaining a month where we have to fill time talking about stuff that we haven't laid eyes on yet.
I think we have to do like a retroactive spring. Like the next 3 weeks,
that's a good idea.
we pretend
Let's just pretend it's March 10th.
Yes, exactly. And we just read a bunch of old articles from March 10th for the next 3 weeks, and we go, here's the report today. Here's what the Huskers did. They had another practice. I mean, that might be the best way to attack it for content, unsportsmanlike content.
Honestly, Matt, that is an amazing idea. So I think every day in April, we just go back 1 month ago retroactively. Now, it's going to be awkward. Occasionally, there will probably be a football story that'll be like, man, and the basketball team, they're getting ready for the NCAA tournament. I bet everybody is excited, and there will be nothing bad to come, especially if they win their first tournament game. The season would be perfect. So we have that to look forward to as well.
I honestly think we'll do that. I'll be like, at some point in the middle of April, I go, they're saying Babalade is looking really good. They're saying that tree is taking that tackle spot.
I love this idea. I hope you do it.
We will do it. In 5 years, how will we talk about this Nebraska basketball season, in your opinion?
Hard to answer because we've got to see what's next, right? Like, I think if they come back next year and they match the season, or they go a little further and the year doesn't end with a loss to their arch nemesis, I think that we view this maybe as like, it had to happen this way, or it was the start of something. If this is the best year that they have, and 5 years down the road, they are kind of back to being like a fringe tournament team, and, they get there, but they're bounced out, or they win it in the first round, like maybe it has a different tinge. It's obviously very hard today, just given, like, this was the doomsday scenario.
It really was.
I went on with the morning guys, and, Happer, it seems like he is more on my side than Schaefer is about the losing to Iowa component of this story. And, like, it seems like everybody is split right now. And I don't know how much of that's like geography. I don't know how much of that is like age. I don't know how much of it is how you view Iowa as a rival, period, versus how you view basketball and football as two separate entities. And so I think that is playing a huge part. Like, almost my entire friend group is in the F Iowa, they just ruined everything camp. But there are a few that are like Schaefer, who's like, it's not that they lost to Iowa, it's that they lost.
Yeah,
and
no,
so I'm rambling. I'm not really answering your question, but I do think in 5 years, like, it's going to have to come down to what happens next. But I mean, if you do pull back, I mean, dude, they never won a tournament game, and then they won 2, and the second one was incredibly memorable.
Yeah.
It's just that, then you turn the corner and it's like, oh no, not that team again. And sure enough, that team did the thing that you didn't want to happen. And then, of course, the 4 players on the floor stuff. So, like, there's a lot that will go into this game and how we view it retrospectively.
I know. I was talking to somebody yesterday. Like, I was like, they're the 9 seed and Nebraska's the 4 seed and everything like that. But it's just like, I think Nebraska's going to win, but you could see it. Like, I think anybody who had been following this team could see a loss could be there. Like, you thought it was going to be close, and I think we all a lot of us thought it was going to be a war to the very end. It just, I don't know. It's interesting you bring that up about, like, Iowa being a football rival. I don't view Iowa like that. I view Iowa as an all-encompassing every sport rival. Like, I want to beat Iowa in every single sport. I don't care if it's baseball. I don't care if it's softball. I don't care if it's basketball. I don't care if it's gymnastics. I don't want to lose to Iowa. And so I definitely think it adds a component to losing. I think there were cleaner ways to go out is probably the best way of putting it. Do you get the vibe that the want isn't like I get the vibe that there is like, man, I want to do this. Like, this isn't a flash in the pan. This isn't just a magical season. Like, I get the vibe that there is legitimate legs behind no, you know what? This is enjoyable, and we need to do something here at the athletic department, or we need to do something where this becomes a consistent thing. Do you get that vibe as well?
I do. Part of that too, there's been some chatter, I'm guessing you've heard it as well, about NIL stuff being up. One guy that everyone always talks about is Price Stanford, and now it's like, are they going to have to battle the NBA for him? I'm guessing he's going to go through all of the processes about finding out where he would fit and where he'd be drafted and if he'll ultimately return. And then Frager, obviously, he's been the other big storyline this year. And some of that is like this weird kind of underbelly, I think, of the fan base and how they talk about him. Not saying that they are an underbelly, but more just like this discourse that kind of exists in a different area, I guess, of Husker land.
Sure.
I think he's going to return, though. I've heard that the money for NIL is going up. And, I mean, like, that's the other bummer, right? Like, you go to the Elite Eight, and it's even easier to get that. I I think we saw, and not to do the whole Indiana football, Nebraska basketball thing, but one of the things that happened was you get a taste of that success, and I think you want more of it. And so it like became really easy for Indiana to go all in on hoops, or on football rather, because they had that first taste. And it was, I mean, very similar, honestly, right? Like you could say making the playoff in college football as an 11 seed is very similar to getting into the Sweet 16 in college basketball. And then they parlayed that into making some big moves, and then they won a national championship. Like, I don't think Nebraska is going to do that next year, but I definitely think that the ride that the fan base went on over the course of this season, but especially the last 2 weeks, like, it's intoxicating. You know, I had never followed a team and covered them in the NCAA tournament. I've gone to tournament games, but I never covered one like this. I mean, when you're like just watching one team and paying attention to one team, and you're talking to fans about that one team, I mean, you can tell, especially like the young part of the Nebraska sports audience, I think has been unlocked by something. Part of that is they haven't ever had this in hoops. Part of that is football has not been delivering. And part of it is just fun, right? It's fun to watch your favorite team win. It's fun to follow your favorite team. It's fun to go to bars and spend time with your friends and have some beers and eat some food and do all of those things. So I think they will absolutely be putting more into it. You know, I always wonder what Dannon's level of interest in hoops is. Like, he's obviously a big football guy, and I mean, he should be. Football is where the university's bread is buttered. How much does he prioritize making sure Nebraska basketball is getting the money and doing those things? Like, that's my biggest question for them right now. I think they got the coach. Of course they have the coach. Do they have that want to that can push a recruit over the top, right? Like, I heard some stories about the end of the portal period and some of the extra money that was coming in from specific people last minute to bring in guys. Is that same thing possible with basketball? That's the question.
Well, another thing is too, Josh, I think the underrated aspect of this is that Nebraska basketball, if you were to pick a time for them to start to peak, I think you would pick now, because we're getting all of these ratings and we're getting all of these indications and data that college basketball is growing in popularity, that this is a really, really good time for college basketball in terms of being on the national stage. And we've never had more of a more viewed first and second round of the NCAA tournament ever. And on top of that, you know, Fox was reporting and ESPN was reporting during the regular season that their numbers were all the way up as well. So, like, Nebraska basketball is getting this investment where a lot of people, you know, more than ever have had their eyes on the product. And I think that's phenomenal. And I think that this is creating a good amount of momentum. And you bring up another great case. You know, Robin Washa came on the show and was like, my kid had a birthday party. He had a Husker birthday party, but he had a Husker basketball birthday party. He didn't have a Husker football birthday party. He had a Husker basketball birthday party, because that is the team that's winning right now. And my story of, I love Husker basketball because they beat the number 1 team when I was in college, right? They beat the number 5 team when I was in college. I had no happiness from the football team in my 4 years at Nebraska. All my sport happiness came from volleyball and from basketball, which is why I care about those sports a lot. That's happening again with a whole other slew of students and a whole other, class of people who, football's bad, not as good, and basketball is providing them that. So I think those are great points made by you. Last question here before we let you go, and you enjoy your 3.5 hours over at the George Bush Intercontinental Airport. I'm going to scare you here, and I'm going to ask you this question because I think you're going to think about it. Is Ben McCollum the Curt Cignetti of college basketball?
Oh, that's a scary question, right? For people around here. I am so blown away because everyone's always like, yeah, their talent stinks. They only have one guy. They obviously have more than one guy. They're in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I am so impressed. Like, they took punches yesterday. Like, they took the 12-2 punch, and then they took the constant down by 2, down by 3, tie game, never able to take a lead punch over and over and over. Like, there was the moment, I marked it last night. They get the air ball from Sturt. Price goes down, hits the 3. I can't remember the next Iowa possession. The next one for Nebraska, he goes down on the ground. Sturts wants a foul on Price for some reason. Price gets up, hits the shot at the elbow. Nebraska's up by 5. And I thought, if they win this game, this is the exact moment that we will be talking about. Instead, Nebraska I think that was their largest lead they had the rest of the game was 5 points. And Iowa came back, and man, the whole time I was just waiting for that pop to hit when Iowa took the lead, and they did, and it was louder than I expected. He's a great coach. I mean, what he's done with them and what he's done with them in year 1 is is it's obviously horrifying for everybody around here. But he is. I don't know. I'll have to think on that because I'm more of a football guy.
Yeah.
But I will think on that. That's a really good question.
You're the man. Really appreciate you as always. Great conversation. Look forward to you being back in the studio and doing a crossover with you Monday, my man. You have fun.
Thanks, boys.
Enjoy the airport. Really walk around, get those steps in, enjoy the club. You deserve it. You put in a lot of hard work this weekend. We appreciate that greatly over here.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Josh Peterson, the zone sex expert, according to our graph.
That's what he's got a badge at his desk. It says he's a sex expert.
But we don't even know if he's ever done it before. He doesn't have kids.
There's no physical evidence.
There's no physical evidence that Josh Peterson has ever had sex. Just throwing it out there. You have physical evidence. Happer has physical evidence.
We do.
Schaefer has physical evidence. We know that happened. There's no physical evidence that I've had.
I was going to go there.
Seriously. Now, here's the thing. I am talking a lot about my dates.
You got one coming up. A big one.
Might have 2 coming up.
2?
We're working.
Whoa, man, about town.
I got to get this in before football season. When football season starts,
But
we're done.
Now you were talking with Peterson. You have this long window now. Spring football is done. Football with 5 months. You got 5 months.
I cannot
to find
wait.
the one.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait for our first spring practice report on Monday. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. No, we're going to do it. We are going to do this, and we're going to do a lot more. Oscar Jacobson coming up at 1:00. I'm going to answer my own question. Coming up in this next segment is Ben McCollum, the next Kurt Signetti. I tell you next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Checking in on, we had a Kurt Signetti drop yesterday. Did you see that?
No. I saw he talked. I didn't hear what he said or anything like that.
He talked about Nick Marsh, a very big transfer portal pickup for Indiana football. Was the wide receiver over at Michigan State. Marsh was a stud in East Lansing, transferred over to Indiana. It was probably one of the bigger transfer portal acquisitions, in my opinion, this go around. It was one of those, whoa, Indiana's for real. He said that he wore gold cleats out to practice and had to grill his ass. I actually think he said ripped his ass for doing that. He's like, can't do that here. You don't wear gold shoes. I like the old style, the classy Kurt Signetti being like, no, we rip into guys here at Indiana. All right, can't wear all that flash, young fella. I like that.
I like that, yeah.
There's also a great tweet that I just saw pop up here. Someone was out of North Carolina, a grocery store in North Carolina, and right in front of the Coca-Cola section, it was a cardboard cutout of Hubert Davis holding up a can of Coke.
Oh,
and
no.
Right next to Hubert Davis was Will Wade, also holding up a plastic bottle of Coca-Cola.
Like a cardboard cutout of Will Wade or the real Will Wade?
No, a cardboard cutout of Will Wade standing next to Hubert Davis at the North Carolina grocery store. I would take one of those home so quickly. What are they going to do?
They're not going to. Yeah,
they don't want those. Yeah. People are
outdated.
mad at that. I'll just grab that and go. I would take the Will Wade one. I think that would be funny. I think that would be very, very funny if he did that. But Kurt Signetti, like I mentioned before, he's already spring football has begun for Indiana football. So the national champions are, I can't believe that's still a thing, by the way. The national champions of college football, Indiana. Insane.
Oh, yeah. Get used to it, baby.
Well, are we going to have to get used to Iowa being in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament?
Ooh, excellent question.
Because you got to think that first year, Ben McCollum, I know he's got Bennett Skirt's absolute stud, but I think it would be foolish not to think that this is probably the worst team he's going to have. You know, the longer that this guy is in Iowa, the more talent and the more time to implement a system. You got to think the Hawkeyes are only going to get better. And he's taken a team that it's the first time since 1987 that the Iowa Hawkeyes will be playing in the Elite Eight. And you kind of look at his resume, it's pretty similar to Kurt Signetti in terms of the fact that these are two guys who won at a high level, but at a lower level. They won a lot of games, but they weren't doing it at the Power 5 level. They weren't. For Ben McCollum, he wasn't even doing it at the Division I level. He won 4 national titles at the Division II level. And, you know, I got a great tweet from Iowa JD. And basically, you know, I love Iowa JD. He was a great listener to the morning show during the time of Gary and Matt. And basically what he was saying was, you know, he's deathly afraid of him being poached away from Iowa and being hired at a blue blood. And even before this game took place yesterday, where Iowa defeated the Nebraska Cornhuskers 77-71, I told you that I think that Ben McCollum will coach at a blue blood one day. I am a full believer in this guy, you know, and especially hanging out with John Walker, who was writing for Northwest Missouri State during all their national championships they were winning, where, you know, John has a really good relationship with Ben McCollum, and it sold me on how good of a coach he is. Will Ben McCollum leave Iowa and go to a bigger place? Will he go to a UNC or a Kentucky or a Duke? Or, you know, will he ever have that opportunity to coach at one of those blue bloods? And if given the opportunity to go and coach at a Kansas, would he say yes? It always goes back to this, Josh Hodson. M equals M. Money equals momentum.
You've been saying that so much the last few weeks.
If you create momentum, the money will come. And if you are given money, you better make some momentum. If those two don't equal out, one of the ends of the scale will leave. If you are given money and you do not create momentum, you will be fired. You will be let go. If you create momentum, but they ain't giving you the money, you're going to go somewhere that will. You're going to go to a place that will give you the resources, that will give you the money. it really just boils down to this. Ben McCollum from Iowa. People around him have said that Iowa is his dream job. He will not leave Iowa if he's given the resources, if he's given the money and he's given the finances and the opportunity to compete at the top level of the Big Ten along with his coaching, he will stay at Iowa. If the momentum he creates is being equaled by the money he is given, why would he leave? Rick Pitino said the quiet part out loud in a media scrum yesterday. He said that blue bloods no longer have a big advantage over others as they once had. Pitino said, and I quote, "There's no difference between an SC State and a North Carolina. The reason is because if you got money, you're good, man." I mean, that's what these kids care about one day. So will Ben McCollum ever leave Iowa? Only if Iowa ever gives him a reason to. If Iowa's able to give him what he believes is the proper resources to continue to compete at the top level of the Big Ten, I don't think he's going anywhere. Do I think that's going to be the case? I don't know.
I'd be really interested in what his life goals are, like his career aspirations.
Yeah.
I mean, born in Iowa City, like,
but at the
is this the pinnacle for him?
At the same time,
or is there another job that he covets?
Well, see, that's the thing. Iowa gets a little bit of a boost there, right? They don't. You got to be close, but you don't have to be at the same level financially. I'll play a little ball with you because I love you, because I grew up wanting to be here, right? But if there's a big gap between what he's being given at Kansas compared to what he's being given at Iowa, he absolutely should leave. He absolutely should be the Kansas Jayhawk head coach. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the Bill Self route. You know, finds a ton of success in the Big Ten for an extended period of time and then goes to Kansas. That's what Bill did. I wouldn't be shocked if that's what Ben McCollum does. I think he's an elite head coach. He already was, in my opinion, after what he did at Northwest Missouri State and what he did at Drake, and he's just proving it even more. And it's super impressive.
So Hawkeye fans are rooting for
money. Give him all the money.
Normalcy in Lawrence.
Yes. Don't retire Bill Self. Look, Kurt Cignetti is not leaving Indiana because he's got all the money he needs to win. All that's got to happen over in Iowa is exactly that for Ben McCollum. Coming up next, one of our favorite segments of the week, Austin Jacobson of Hurrdat Sports, going to join us, and we're going to shoot the S, if you will. Coming up next on 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, who serves the best bite in Omaha? In the Metro, it's the Omaha Food Fight presented by Union Bank and Trust. The Edible 8 is underway. The field will cut in half as fourth round voting ends after Sunday, March 29th. That's this weekend. The Foodie 4, featuring the 4 remaining contestants, will then run from Monday, March 30th until the end of Wednesday, April 1st. Vote now at 1620zone.com for your favorite restaurant to see if they advance to the Foodie 4. We bring in fellow foodie, somebody who likes to eat a lot, but also likes to run off the calories. It's Mr. Austin Jacobson. It was just segue. It's just radio. All right. Calm down. All right.
They don't calling him fat.
They don't all have to be winners. No, I say that he has good taste and then he runs off what he eats, which is what you do.
Why are you bringing up running?
Why? I'm not allowed to bring up running. Why are you so echoey? What is this? What is this McDonald's microphone that you have?
It's a
today?
good question. Echoey is not the word. Like, it's booming.
Yeah, you have some reverb on that.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm in a very echoey room. I thought it was set up. I'm set up in our soundstage, so maybe this microphone setup's not the best. I can move. You want me to move? You want me to walk away?
You're fine. No. I don't want you to run away. You already do that enough in your off time.
Why do you keep bringing up running?
What? You like to run?
You said run.
You like to run, and you said run. You said the verb.
It's interesting.
I'm an interesting guy. How are you? Are you recovered?
No, I'm in immense levels of stress right now. I am being completely torn apart online because people are wondering why I haven't laced them up and ran across Nebraska yet.
You are a dumbass.
That wasn't my fault. I had 3 high noons on a Sunday night concert at Steelhouse. Okay,
first off,
I felt very confident.
How much of a
pineapple, by the way?
A lightweight are you? That 3 high noons and already you're making bad decisions?
Those weren't bad decisions. I was ultimately confident in the ability of Nebraska to put 5 people on the floor at all times, but I did not anticipate that they weren't going to, do that during the most critical juncture of the game. That's not my fault. I was confident in the starting 5 in Nebraska, not 4. Never 4.
Unfortunately, that's not the first time that Fred Hoiberg has quoted Hoosiers. Or he actually has quoted Hoosiers before in a press conference. Look at me being attentive. You're dumb. You're stupid. I don't know why I've done that once before where you make like a bet against yourself and you agree to do something that literally has no return. Never do it again. Neither will you. What are you going to do? Let me read. First off, for those who don't know, let me read the tweet that you had here. All right. On March 22nd, you tweeted, if Iowa basketball somehow
was a bad verb. That was a bad word to throw in. Yeah, that was a bad word.
Finds a way to beat Nebraska basketball in the Sweet 16. I will run from Sydney, Nebraska to Sydney, Iowa in a Hawkeye singlet, eating only corn on the cob. Okay. First off,
that's 412 miles for everyone wondering.
That's an 8-day and 15-hour trek, according to Google Maps.
And that's without sleeping. So, they don't account that into it either. So
are you going to do it? Are you going to be a man of your word?
Are you going to sleep?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Are you planning this out? Have you taken the days off of work? Or is this going to be content?
Sorry, your whole thing just cut out. I think I have bad internet. Hold on. Say it all again. Say one more time. No, it actually did. You were super digitized. Couldn't hear a single thing.
Are you going to be a man of your word?
Yes, I have a plan in place. I am actually. So I am doing the legwork. Bad verbiage there, but that's the only thing I could come up with to figure out what the actual responsibility of this is. Because here's my pitch. If I don't do this, right? No, this isn't a personal thing. This is, if I don't do this, I become the face of all Nebraska fans for not doing what they're supposed to, which is basically Nebraska athletics against Iowa, right? But here's the thing. I think if I do this, I think I break the curse. So I'm going to spin it that way, that I need to run to Sydney, Iowa to break the Iowa curse over Nebraska. So I'm going to do it. Now, legally speaking, and you heard the wonderful producer Josh Hodson speak a moment ago about this, that it is 412 miles to run from Sydney to Sydney. Unfortunately, you cannot run on the interstates. That is illegal. It is also dangerous to do. I'm not willing to danger myself to run on. I can run on the highways. It is a little bit tricky because obviously we're talking about running nonstop. I would need places to rest. and along that highway and along dirt roads and private roads also, because I've mapped this out. I looked it up. It's very difficult, right? It's beyond the human capability of me, a normal human citizen, normal Nebraska fan. What I am going to pitch and propose, and this is a workshop progress for making this work, right?
I can help you out. I can help you out here.
I am willing to run, as the crow flies, the mileage from Sydney, Nebraska to Sydney, Iowa. I'm willing to run that in a certain amount of time frame that does not endanger myself and my personal health, does not require me to spend any sort of exuberant money or lose income because I'm poor and I work in sports media, so I don't make that much money. And I have a wedding to pay for. They're expensive. Yeah, so I can't take off work. I can't do any of that. What I can do is I can make my life miserable. I think, and this is, again, workshop. I don't want to pen myself in with anything, right? I think that I can run these 400 plus miles in less than a month's time. Doing, I mean, we're talking like 10 miles a day, right? Like that's not normal. I don't think even Josh Tweederson does that. So
no, that is slow. By the way, 400 miles. That's like you being a D1 runner. That's like you about to like running with the Colorado Buffaloes. Like that's what
I'm a full-time employee. I've got coverages I got to go to. Like this would be tough. I think that's reasonable. Now, the Hawkeye singlet I have plans for. I'm not going to release details on that. I do think it'd be very funny is if obviously I'm going to record myself doing all these runs and I have to eat corn on the cob, which I did put. I think it'd be funnier if I do different types of corn, like I do creamed corn, maybe hit some maize, hit some, salted butter, like all that good stuff. I think that. Switch it up a little bit with the corn.
Maybe do some like Mexican street corn one time as well.
I think that there's endless possibilities with this corn. Yeah.
I mean, corn is such a versatile food that you really, it is. Honestly, you make coin your oyster, right? I mean, the world is your oyster. The world is your corn. You can do whatever you want.
Corn my bee, which I can't say on public radio.
Corn what?
Make corn my bee. I'm not going to.
What is that? What's your bee?
There's an itch after.
My bad. You're going to make corn your blank. I got you. We allowed to say that word in that sentence, Josh Hodson, our referee over here?
I was reading an email, so I don't know what you guys said.
We want to say the word that you refer to with a female dog. We want to make corn our female dog.
Use it very sparingly. I might give you one.
Can we get one here?
No, we don't. We don't need it here. We got to reserve that for later. That's got to be one. We got to
say. All right, good. I appreciate that rule.
You shouldn't be handed a bullet and right away you want to use it. You got to be able to.
Come on, I want you. We got it. We negotiated with Dad, and Dad is going to let us play PS3 all night.
Also,
and we're gonna get some Doritos and Mountain Dew.
To comment also, Platcat shout out as always, but PC makes a great point. Part of this journey,
it's ridiculous.
Wow. Okay. Part of this journey, I think the only way to truly break this curse is to make sure that this race does finish in Sydney, Iowa. So I will run as many of the miles that I have to be able to make sure that they're obviously kind of, conjoined across the state that work within my time frame. Again, not injuring myself, not committing to time off work, anything like that. But I think the last mileage has to be completed and finished inside of Sydney, Iowa. So I will bring that up and I will make sure that we get there. I don't know when we're going to plan this. I don't know, anything, but I will say this. I'm willing to do this and benefit for charity for the wildfire relief fund. That's through the Nebraska Cattlemen's. I'm willing to do this with the Iowa Med Center, with the, pediatrics and everything with Iowa, the Children's Hospital that's at Iowa City. I'm willing to do all of this for it. And I'm also willing to not do it for anything at all, if just to break a curse of a generation of Nebraska athletics falling short against the Iowa Hawkeyes. We have to break this curse.
I have a couple of comments here.
I just want to Madam Zeroni Nebraska up the mountain. That's what I want to do.
I have a couple of comments. Number one, you're a better man than I am. Okay. I would have just ignored this. I wouldn't.
You called me dumb earlier. You said I wouldn't do it. People have been saying that I wouldn't do this, and that has been so aggravating. They don't know the planning I put into this.
I'm saying you're a better man than me for actually putting effort and thought, and you have a willingness and want to do this. And also, too, I think it's a great idea if you actually execute this to make it for some sort of charity. And I think that you would be a very good poster boy for that because you are great at making content. So kudos to you for actually attacking this. I personally would have just ignored it. So good, you're a better man than I am. Secondly, the spin zone of the century here taking a dumb, stupid tweet and flipping it into, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to break the curse. I'm going to be the one to lift this above from us. I'm going to be the one who cures us all. It's so pathetic. I have to clap my hands about it. I mean, it's incredible. It's great. It's awesome. I mean, it's one of the best spin zones I have seen. So I want to give you credit for that.
Let's just let's live in the land of theory. None of this has happened yet, right? The whole land of theoretical. Let's say Austin Jacobson in the year 2026 completes this 400+ mile journey from Sydney to Sydney,
which he definitely will.
Which I definitely will do. And I finish it and I break this curse. And then Nebraska football on Black Friday beats Iowa. Who gets the credit? I think Austin. I think everyone should tweet. Yeah.
Thank you, Austin. A
November win. Could you imagine?
I've never seen one of those.
If you do this, I think Matt Rule needs to go on the presser and be like, you know what? There's one man I want to thank. All right. It's not Tom Osborne. It's not Troy Dannon. It's not Anthony Calandria. It's this guy who makes some of the best content on my favorite Hurrdat.
There's no way he thinks that. There's no way that he
We can make it happen. We can make it happen.
It doesn't matter what he thinks. It matters what he's willing to say in public.
What I do want him to say in public when this happens and when Matt Rule does get your first win against Iowa, you're welcome. And I finished all this. I want him to
hold the phone. Nothing's guaranteed.
I want him to do the grocery store man meme where it's just him going, I want to shake your hand. I want to shake your hand. And then I arrive at the press conference and I shake his hand in Iowa City.
We will give you the key to the city. How about that? We give you the key to Lincoln. No,
I want the key to Sydney. What do I want Lincoln for?
You're like Dr. Doofenshmirtz. You want to take over the tri-state area. Screw taking over the world. Screw getting the key to the city of the capital. I want the key to the city of Sydney, Nebraska.
Yeah, people call it the three corners for a reason. Nebraska, Wyoming and Colorado. We don't worry about Northwest Kansas.
No, you don't. Screw Northwest Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean,
good take.
I know. Great. I have nothing. I've never been to Northwest Kansas. All I hear is that Josh Hodgson hates driving through it, and so they've become our enemies. You know what? Guys. You know what? Dead to us. Northwest Kansas. Put it on the list.
Boom.
See, what Josh Hodgson hates, I hate. Okay? What Josh Hodgson
what
loves,
Matt McMaster hates, I hate.
I know, and we don't hate you. We don't hate. Are you frozen, or are you just looking at your phone?
I'm just answering a text from my boss, who's definitely not happy that I'm having to, maybe take time off of work to run.
Oh, it's good for the brand, though.
You're gonna take. Okay.
I'm not. See, that's another thing. I'm trying not to take time off of work. Like I'm trying to do this in a reasonable way, but also this is tough. Like I'm going to have to get up at 3:30 in the morning and run 10 miles first thing and just try to knock out as many miles as I can.
I can imagine people being at your wedding being like, why was there only one option for protein? Oh, Austin, he had to take off 7 days off of work because the idiot said he'd run from Sydney to Sydney.
But see, here's the other thing is I understand this part too, that no matter how I adjust this to make it realistic and actually accomplish this, I know that there will be people that are like, well, you didn't actually do the real thing. And that's totally fine. If they choose
those people. Screw those people.
You know what? Honestly, that's totally fine. I don't blame them. Am I chickening out a little bit by not literally killing my body to run 400 miles?
You don't have to do anything, and people will forget about it. All right, it'll just become you don't have to do one thing. You don't have to run. You don't have to do any of this. You didn't even have to acknowledge it on Twitter. People would have just kind of every once in a while made a joke like, "Oh, hey, remember when you were going to run from Sydney to Sydney? Eating corn, with a singlet," and then that would have been over. Oh, haha, so funny. I ain't doing that. That's all that would have been. The fact that you are actually willing to put this together from a logistical standpoint and do it is quite incredible.
I'm trying, I'll do what I can. We'll see what we can do for the people of Nebraska. It's time to break the curse, and I'm here to break it. I'm here to break your curse.
What a spin zone that you're gonna take. You're gonna make this into breaking the curse. Hey, we'll get you on House Rules. If you do this, we will get you on House Rules. We'll make some.
I'm already booked. I'm on Middays with Matt. Sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah, you should tell him that. Do you know how your boss is mad at you for potentially having to take off days to run? Do you know how mad they would be? It'd be like, no, I turned down Rule. I'm with McMaster. That's who I'm doing. Sorry, I had Middays with Matt. Yeah, sorry guys, can't go on and promote our company here on House Rules. Let's talk real quickly, seriously here about sports. Your takeaway, your biggest takeaway from yesterday's game, whether it be the coaching, whether it be, not having 5 guys out on the court, whether it be the
massive amount of work you signed yourself up for,
the bad execution at the end of the first half, your biggest takeaway from the game yesterday.
Man, there are so many things, and I don't want to, you don't want to disturb the dead, right? And, scoop more dirt onto an already buried grave. But there were just 2 main takeaways for me. And there's nothing that I feel remiss for even bringing this up necessarily, because the season's over, right? Like there's nothing, they can't change anything about the year. They can't change this moving forward. Like you can't correct this. There's nothing to do with it. I was shocked at the amount of rink masked, just his offensive possessions were confusing to me at different times, especially there at the start of the second half. There was many chances where it felt like he didn't intend to score, but he had the ball in scoring positions. And it wasn't just masked. His was the most volume, but there was a couple of opportunities. For as great as Braden Frager was, there was one that stood out to me where he drove down on the near side lane, was able to get down the baseline, had an open look, and instead passed it back to the top of the key for a contested 3 to Price. And it felt like that there were some times where Nebraska was very, very much, hey, Price, if you don't get this, we don't really have a possession here. And there were too many chances for Nebraska to not try to get their head down or just try to find the right possession to go and score. It felt like a lot of their possessions were let's look for the right look rather than let's take the ball, let's try to score. And I know that's maybe dumb and that's layman's term, but that's what the impression kind of came across as was. Unfortunately, on the opposite side, and I do have to give credit to the Hawkeyes here for this, Ben McCollum is an awesome coach. And I know that that's not either a great take, but I've known this longer than anybody has in this area because he notably erupted UNK basketball many years in a row. He had the highest average margin of victory over the Lopers, who were not a fantastic basketball team, but competitive in the MIAA. And he would crush them every time he'd come to the Health and Sports Center at Northwest Missouri State. He was an absolute dragon slayer for the Bearcats at his time there. There's no surprise that he's having success at this level. And the fact that I hate the fact that they're not crediting McCollum for his Division II victories, that they're only saying, well, this is his first year in major power Division I. Yeah, I get it. He still took Drake to the NCAA tournament a year ago. He won 4 straight national championships in Division II, and he's going to continue to have a lot of success at Iowa. Honestly, the biggest thing for me coming out of this was how far can McCollum actually take the Hawkeyes? It's going to be the most interesting part of the next 2 years of this cycle, because inevitably he's going to get calls for bigger and larger and better programs, and he's going to turn them down. He's staying in Iowa City. He will not move on. He is a little bit on the older side. He's an Iowa City guy. He's from Iowa. This is his dream. His dream was never to be the head coach at a major college basketball power. His dream was to lead the Iowa Hawkeyes, and that is scary for the rest of the Big Ten.
But when Kansas comes calling,
Iowa called first.
I don't know. I know you're totally correct. Grew up having a dream, grew up in Iowa, loves the Hawkeyes, wants to coach there. But at the same time, if Kansas were to come calling with more money, more resources, with that logo, with those colors, I would be, I don't want to say stunned, but I'd be taken aback by him actually putting his foot down and saying, no, I'm going to. I'm going to be here. Same thing. Like I could see him saying no to North Carolina. Like I could totally see him saying no to North Carolina.
And Damon made a great point about it this morning on Herd at Sports Live, just about it's not a great fit. Because I asked him, he's a North Carolina fan. I just asked, I was like, hey, is this a program that you think fits? Like if you're North Carolina, you have to call. And he's like, no, it doesn't fit. But how many programs
Kansas would fit really well.
Yeah,
like that
how
is
many
the
programs
one
you go down the list for where it's not a fit and you don't care and you're just like, he's a winner, right? Because that's where we got with Cignetti. People didn't necessarily like the process of it, but it became such an emphatic fact that he was such a winner. Didn't matter. Everyone wanted him.
Here's the thing, though, because we actually talked about this before he came on the air. Is Ben McCollum the next Kurt Cignetti? That was the segment we had. And the one thing that I brought up is this. Cignetti doesn't need to leave Indiana because Indiana has money. Indiana has ponied up. They have called all of their alumni, Mark Cuban, everybody's come out of that great school of business that they have over there in Bloomington, and they have given him everything he possibly needs to compete in terms of recruiting and in terms of the transfer portal. And so why would he leave? I have the money. I'm comfortable here. I've created my program. Why would I go somewhere else where I'm going to have these heightened expectations where I know I can win in Indiana? That's why he hasn't left. I would, to a certain extent, has to do the same. They also have to give him, they don't have to give him the same resources that Kansas is giving their head coach. That would be way too big of an ask. But they got to give him something. And if they can bring him enough resources where he's comfortable, then I agree with you. I don't think he'll leave Iowa. I mean, Pitino said it. Pitino said yesterday that NC State, he doesn't think there's a difference between NC State and North Carolina because the prestige doesn't matter as much anymore.
I think it's also how you value your own program, right? Because I don't think McCollum's ever going to go in and just be like, I need more money to win. He's never won with money.
He doesn't. He really doesn't.
And granted, I get it. Like, I understand. D2, even in 2017 through 2020, was a much different world than what the Division I world ever has been, right? But, I mean, every single obstacle you've ever thrown in front of Ben McCollum, he's never cared for. And he waited for the right opportunity to move up to Division I for a very long time. He bided his time at Northwest Missouri State. You would be shocked at the amount, and John Walker can tell you, the next time you have him on, you need to ask about how many schools routinely asked about Ben McCollum. It was it was a yearly thing. It was annual. Every single time that we hit about the beginning of April, you would hear rumors in the MIAA conference about, oh, this is the year McCollum finally heads out. And honestly, when he finally left Northwest, that was more shocking than anything because people thought he was done, that he was never going to leave because he was so comfortable in Maryville. And instead he decided to stick it out, and look where it's gotten him now, his dream job at his dream school.
And like you're talking about, like he never needed money to win, which is a great point. Good coaches are good coaches. Coaches can coach. If you can coach, you can coach. Like I remember yesterday watching the game, and it was a great analysis by Stan Van Gundy, where he's like, they're just working the weak side. They get the ball, they plan it, they look immediately to the weak side, they find open shots over there, and then they move it a couple more times to get an open shot. Like there was a moment, Austin, where Fulgaris caught the ball like close to the elbow, and his back is completely facing, I think it was Kale who came to double him. His back is completely facing Kale, but like he had a sixth sense and understanding that the double was coming. And he immediately, before Kale got there, flipped it back out of the perimeter. They rotated around and hit a three. That's coaching. That's just coaching. That's just Fulgaris being coached that, hey, if you have the ball here in this area, you're going to get doubled and you know better to get it out. I hate that he's coaching for Iowa. I wish he was coaching for any other team. Why couldn't he be the coach of, God, like Butler or somebody? Well, I guess the Big East. Why couldn't he be the coach of like Baylor? Like, why couldn't he just be coaching Baylor? Why does he have to be coaching Iowa? He could be coaching. If he was coaching Minnesota, I still really wouldn't care as nearly as much if he was coaching Iowa. It sucks. It sucks. It's the worst.
He's a great coach, and he's one that like I've obviously had a little bit more connection to. In fact, there's no way he remembers this at all. When I was at the student radio station at KLPR in Kearney at UNK, I got to talk to McCollum twice a year because we get to call their games. It was awesome. Like I got to talk to McCollum like a couple of different times, and I mean, the fact that he was giving up his time again, that's the Division II like difference. That's why he doesn't care about like all these other things that go around. Eventually, maybe that grows on him. Yes, because winning is hard, and in the Big Ten, winning is difficult. But for McCollum, winning is his life. It's what he's always done. It's what he's always known.
I had no clue that when I asked you that McCollum question, that you had the insight that you did. So that's awesome. Great. Yeah. I'm seriously, maybe I should have just shut up and not said anything and pretended like I knew that you had that. But you're the best. Always appreciate talking to you.
Austin, real quick before we let you go, a number of people in the audience are glad you could join us, even though you've struck gold in the crypto game.
Did you get hacked?
Did you like that? No, that was my nuclear launch code that I was like, what if I just nuke my account from orbit? So it was kind of my fail safe. I had that in my drafts ready that I was like, what if I just...
I had wondered if you typed it out to sound exactly like other people.
Big wins lately.
Bitcoin.
Just secured a new carbon
have
I've been getting from Bitcoin mining.
Unfortunately, our good friend Matt Coatney's account did get hacked. I did copy and paste and use those same images from his hacked account to hopefully ward off the dogs on mine. And it seemed to work for a couple of hours last night. I think I warded off a couple of people, which was very nice.
That is such a pro move. That's incredible. Good for you.
Yeah.
Maybe we
pretend
should.
your accounts get hacked. Oh, sorry. There's no
Oh,
way I can
sorry.
respond.
Sorry about my bad takes. I've been I've been corrupted. You're the best. Appreciate talking to you. We will see you next Friday. And we will have an update on whether or not you're actually going to go through with this, where we have a lot of people who have sent in texts and emails about what you should do to get rid of this problem. So we will gladly forward those to you so you can get some ideas here. We do have a wedding coming up, though, so we need to save some money. All right. People are saying we need an RV. There's been treadmill ideas. There's been thousands of dollars spent in some of these ideas. We got to make sure that we have a big venue for enough of people who basically you're inviting all of Sydney to your wedding, correct?
Both Sydneys, more or less, at this point. Yes.
I mean, it's quite ridiculous. So
hey,
we have to
ABC
have
is
a big venue.
looking. ABC's looking to provide hours and hours of content now that they don't have a season of The Bachelorette to air. Maybe they could just make your dream wedding come true.
Yes, absolutely. God, what is your dream wedding?
Email Disney now.
Yes. We need
my dream wedding was in Sydney, Nebraska. That's what it's always been, right? The homeboy goes home. All right, hey, movie for the week, Matt McMaster.
Go ahead.
Original Dune. You can watch it on HBO Max. Not Dune Part 1 with Timothy.
No.
Original Dune. No, it is a mind trip. You're gonna love it. It's be very fun for you.
Austin Jacobson of Her Dad Sports, always on Friday. You're the best. We'll talk to you later, my man.
Yep. See you later.
Coming up next, we preview. Yeah, cut him off. Get him out of here. We already have a proper send off for him. Is he frozen on the screen, or is he just looking at us like that?
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. We're going to talk about the games that are going to be happening tonight. Michigan State's playing UConn. Iowa State is going to play Tennessee. Should be a lot of fun. We will talk about that next year on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Curly Joe 80 says in the YouTube chat, how old is Matt McMaster of 1620 The Zone? Turning 24 in a week, by the way. My birthday's on Easter. I got to put a hat on. Good Lord.
Want to look good for radio.
Well, for the YouTube
I
stream,
know what you mean.
everybody's making fun of my hair today. I actually did it.
I don't know that anyone's making fun of your hair today.
A lot of people have texted me and said
okay.
I have radio hair today, is what they've told me. Not TV hair,
Sorry.
because it's indicating that on TV people see your face, which that is the truth. Mick Cronin was talking about Fred Hoiberg on Colin Cowherd's show. It's a sentence I didn't think I was going to be saying today. They were talking about the very infamous play at this point of Fred Hoiberg having 4 players out on the court coming out of a timeout in a very crucial out-of-bounds situation that led to Iowa getting 3 points and taking a 6-point lead. Well, that's great. Why'd you lose to Iowa out of everybody? Let's go to the Prairie Farm Casino Zone hotline, 429511620. Doug has been waiting for a while. Doug, what you got for me, my man? Doug, not there. Sorry, Doug. He called in during an interview. It's kind of it's tough to get you in while we're talking to Austin Jacobson, who actually is now seemingly more committed to running 412 miles because there might actually be some stakes on the line. Not Omaha stakes. I'm talking about other possibilities. So we're rooting for Austin. We'll allow him to reveal those possible stakes if this actually comes to fruition. One of the things we've wanted for quite a while in college basketball is coming to fruition. Dan Hurley versus Tom Izzo tonight. The future / present taking on the present / past of college basketball. 2 elite coaches who've done it at different times in the game. Izzo, regarded as one of the greatest coaches in college basketball history. Dan Hurley, definitely the new kid on the block. 2 national championships back-to-back, trying to get to another Elite 8 is Dan Hurley tonight against Michigan State. Go ahead and you look at Michigan State's numbers. The guys that they have shoot the 3-point ball, a lot of their 3-point makes are assisted on, which means that Michigan State is a very reliant. They're very reliant on catch and shoot opportunities, and so Jeremy Fears is going to have to put on his playmaking hat tonight and get the guys the ball in those situations that they're going to have to make those shots, and that's the type of offense that UConn, in their history under Dan Hurley, actually has done a very good job at shutting down those kind of catch and shoot offenses. And so it's going to have a lot of Jeremy Fears getting the offense into the right situation while also Jeremy Fears was scoring the basketball. But I think more than any matchup that we'll see in the Sweet 16, I'm going to be watching the refereeing here. I'm going to be watching the officials. I'm going to be watching the whistles because UConn, and it was shown very much so against St. John's, struggles when you have multiple dudes on the court with size. Well, you got Cooper and Kohler. Kohler's like 6'10", Cooper's like 6'11" for this Michigan State roster, and Kohler's an absolute animal. I love what he's done for the Spartans this season. Terrace Reed is a big deal for UConn, and if he gets some ticky-tack fouls, if he gets a quick 2 fouls in the first half, or if he gets into any sort of foul trouble tonight, it's going to be very difficult for UConn to recover from that. So we'll be watching that tonight. Can UConn handle the physicality inside from Cooper and Kohler this go around? And does Michigan State's offense change a little bit from less to catch and shoot to more trying to create opportunities off of the dribble? We'll see what the chess match between Hurley and Izzo will look like tonight. We'll also have Tennessee versus Iowa State. Joshua Jefferson twisted his ankle about 3 minutes into the first round game of Iowa State, one of their best players for the Cyclones. We'll see if he will be ready to go tonight. I think at this point it's doubtful, but we will see if he will be ready to play. Tennessee has an awful turnover ratio this season. They've turned the ball over 17% on their possessions. It's 225th in the country. We saw what Iowa State was able to do against Kentucky, causing 19 turnovers and basically shutting down the Wildcat season. I mean, they made Kentucky quit on the court. It was wild to see. But Tennessee, very good on the offensive boards. They're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation. Their best offense might be, let's not take too much time getting hounded by this doubling, switching, aggressive Iowa State defense. Let's try and get a shot up and then take advantage of getting on the boards and second chance opportunities. Just because you look at some of the losses that Iowa State has had this season, they did not do a good job rebounding against Kansas when they lost, against BYU when they lost against Texas Tech without JT Toppin. It is one of those instances where Iowa State's weakness has definitely been on the defensive boards. And part of the reason is because they're doubling at so many places and they're switching and you got all these guys everywhere. They're not necessarily focusing on rebounding, right? There are so many different aggressive rules on their defense that it kind of puts them out of position when it comes to the boards. Tennessee is great on the offensive boards, and that might be the key to victory for the Volunteers tonight. So we got 4 great games: Alabama, Michigan, Duke, St. John's, Tennessee, Iowa State, along with Michigan State, UConn. I will take Michigan State to beat UConn. I'll take Iowa State to beat Tennessee. Duke, I think they're going to clobber St. John's. I just don't see how St. John scores. I'm just going to be totally honest with you. And then another game's a tough one. Alabama, Michigan. I could see Alabama just going nuclear tonight and making a bunch of 3-pointers and maybe Michigan just being off. But if Lendenborg is playing like he has been over the last couple of weeks, I think it's hard to deny it. I'm going to say Michigan, but I could see that being a toss-up. So great night of hoops, and it'll be a great weekend of hoops as well. Josh Hodson is going to tell you more of things to watch coming up next here, ending the week of Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone.
Stibbs is always mile high.
Middays with Matt.
Great week. Great week of shows. It's been a ton of fun. Josh Hodson, we have a great weekend ahead of us with the hoops and everything else going on, along with baseball. Baseball's back, baby. How am I going to watch the Cubs? Don't ask me. I don't know. I do not know, but I'm going to watch them at some point. Okay. Josh Hodson, what are we watching this week?
Well, you just went over the Sweet 16 games that are on TV tonight. I'll do the Elite Eight tomorrow. Both games on TBS. 5:09 tip-off between Iowa and Illinois, followed at 7:49. Between Purdue and Arizona, you can listen to both games right here on 1620 The Zone. The women, they're doing the Sweet 16 beginning tonight. UConn plays at 4 o'clock, which is definitely good for the brand on ESPN. Minnesota, UCLA, little Big Ten action for you. 6:30 tonight on ESPN. Duke and LSU are your nightcap. 4 more games tomorrow. Elite Eight for the women starts Sunday and Monday. NBA this weekend, Pistons Wolves, 4 p.m. tomorrow on ABC. Sunday night on NBC, it is Knicks Thunder, and then Warriors Nuggets, 9 o'clock Sunday on Peacock. 1 NHL game on national TV this weekend, and it is in prime time in Hockey Town. The Red Wings host the Flyers, 7 o'clock tomorrow on ABC. Baseball this weekend, Twins and Orioles, 3 p.m. tomorrow on FS1. Royals and Braves on Big Fox tomorrow night. And then Guardians Mariners, 6:20 on Peacock. College baseball, Indiana and Nebraska in Lincoln all weekend long on Big Ten Plus. Sacramento State and Creighton down at the Chuck Box on ESPN Plus all weekend. And Yacht Rock 1180. And softball is on your television this weekend. A big one for the Huskers, 9th ranked. They host the 8th ranked Bruins of UCLA. 8 o'clock tonight on FS1, 2 o'clock tomorrow on Big Ten Plus, and noon Sunday on Nebraska Public Media, Matt.
Dog of the day won yesterday. We took Illinois money line.
Interesting.
The Houston Cougars. So kudos to us. We had a good day of betting yesterday. Needed that one after our terrible first weekend. Let's go with the Michigan State Spartans. I just think we're getting really good value here. Plus 117 money line. If Terrace Reed ends up getting a couple of early fouls, it might be night for the UConn Huskies. That double big lineup of Michigan State, always dangerous. That's why they're a 3 seed. Probably got underseeded. Okay, great week of shows. Enjoy the weekend. Have fun. Enjoy the basketball. Enjoy everything. Just enjoy life. The weather's going to be good, somewhat, right?
Yeah.
All right. I might go to the zoo tomorrow. Who knows?
Hey,
I know why. I need to get steps. Just need to get the steps.
You
steps.
could walk from Sydney to Sydney.
No, that sounds like an awful, terrible, just torturous way to do anything. We are not doing that. Kudos to Austin Jacobson for actually going through with it. Kudos to you for actually listening through Middays with Matt. We appreciate you greatly here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. USC and the crossover coming up next.